better believe it is October time here in Philadelphia.
All the focus of Game 1 was on Roy Halladay.
Being able to win the game comes first. That's your only focus.
Roy Halladay has thrown a no-hitter.
You know, if I was thinking of this scenario, it'd be like a nightmare.
The Reds must wake up from this bad dream and do what they do best. Even with continued firepower on the horizon, the Reds are confident in their bats.
One thing's for sure, I mean, we're due to get a lot of hits after this game.
Reds, Phillies, next.
Friday night in Philadelphia. And as long as she stands, this beautiful ballpark in South Philly will have its place in baseball history. With Roy Halladay's Game 1 masterpiece still reverberating through Citizens Bank Park, it's time to pull the curtain on Act 2. Tonight's National League Division Series coverage on TBS is presented by BlackBerry. Game 2 tonight, the NLDS, the Cincinnati Reds, winners of the Central Division, against the reigning National League champs, the Philadelphia Phillies. And hi, everybody. We welcome you on a beautiful Friday night for baseball in Philadelphia. Brian Anderson, Joe Simpson. Joe, it's going to be tough to follow that act that we saw on Wednesday, but under the weight of Roy Halladay's no-hitter are the Cincinnati Reds. Now, this is a ball club that arrives in this postseason as a team that thrived after being written off during the regular season.
There have been a few times where they've been slapped in the face this year, Brian, and they've responded every time, including a sweep by the Phillies here back in July, then a sweep by the Cardinals in Cincinnati in August. But each time they bounce back strong, and I think you can expect the same thing to happen after they were hit with that no-hitter a couple of nights ago. But if they're going to do that, they got to get their offense going. And in this ballpark, that's been a struggle. They have not scored here at Citizens Bank Park in 30 innings. They've had a real hard time getting on the board. And that's going to be crucial tonight for their starting pitcher, Bronson Arroyo. Not only, of course, do they have to score runs, but it'd be nice to score early for him and give him a chance to breathe a little bit. He's not a guy that's likely to throw a shutout. He might give up a run or two. He's got to have a little cushion.
Well, I think Arroyo's offense will be glad to face anybody but Roy Halladay. That is for sure. As a matter of fact, maybe the best quote of the night after the no-hitter came from the Reds' leader, their third baseman and former Philly, Scott Rowland. He said, "I never thought I would look forward to facing Roy Oswalt." That's the story tonight, because Oswalt is another ace in this long line of aces for the Philadelphia Phillies. And now tonight it is Little Roy following up Big Roy.
It's hard to imagine anybody pitching better than Halladay pitched a couple of nights ago, but Roy Oswalt is certainly capable. 7-1 with the Phillies since he came over from Houston. He's never lost in this ballpark. 5-0 with the Phillies, and combined with the Phillies and Astros, he's 9-0 at Citizens Bank Park.
All right, so we're ready to go. It is Game 2. It is loud at Citizens Bank Park. You know that. This series plows forward, and we're anxious to see what is next. But before we turn the page, we roll out with the sights and sounds of Doc Halladay's Philadelphia Phenomenon.
The MLB Division Series on TBS is presented by BlackBerry and brought to you in part by Charles Schwab. Get the help your money deserves. Talk to Chuck. By UPS. Let UPS put the power of logistics to work for you. Visit thenewlogistics.com. And by BMW. Experience joy for yourself in the ultimate driving machine.
Philadelphia and Cincinnati tonight, two teams that have been playing against each other in the National League since 1890. As we're set for Game 2, and here is the starting lineup for Dusty Baker's Reds. Brandon Phillips, again the leadoff hitter. Batting second is Orlando Cabrera at short. A couple of Gold Glove winners at the top. Then Joey Votto at first base, a chance at the MVP this year. In the middle of the lineup, it's Scott Rowland, the former Philly. Lance Nix makes his first postseason start. He's in left with Jay Bruce in right field. Drew Stubbs, the young center fielder. Ryan Hannigan gets the call, catching Bronson Arroyo here tonight. And that lineup will face the second of the three aces in this Philadelphia starting rotation, Joe, and it's Roy Oswalt.
33 years old, Brian, 6 feet, 190 pounds, out of Weir, Mississippi. Two-time 20-game winner, three-time All-Star. He's been in the top 5 in Cy Young voting 5 different times. He's won 150 games in his career, including 23 of them in his career against Cincinnati, 23-3 lifetime against the Reds.
A trade deadline acquisition for Philadelphia from the Houston Astros. And his former teammate Lance Berkman on a big stage last night for the Yankees, and now Oswalt will take his turn in the NLDS. And the first pitch down and in, and away we go. Just a beautiful night for baseball here in Philadelphia. Ideal conditions as Brandon Phillips is ready to lead off. Phillips hit .275 during the regular year with 18 home runs and 59 runs batted in.
And you'll see that a lot from Oswalt. He's not afraid to pitch inside, and he's got a good fastball, anywhere from 92 to 94 typically. He's got an excellent over-the-top curveball and a changeup. His changeup he holds a little different than most. He holds it between his ring and middle fingers. Calls it a Vulcan changeup.
Not a bad idea. Oswalt deals him a strike. Phillips, an all-star this year for the first time, has won a Gold Glove in the National League. Did that in '08. Got a chance at a Gold Glove this year. He's known as one of the best second basemen in all of baseball. But the Reds are going to need his bat here tonight for sure. They're going to need anybody's bat here tonight. And that one is hit well deep left field. And there she goes. Brandon Phillips with a bang puts Cincinnati on the board here tonight.
That is exactly what the Reds needed. On the board early, and with a long one at that to fire up that dugout. That ends the streak of 30 scoreless innings in this ballpark, and ends the streak of 27 straight hitters that did not get a hit against Roy Halladay.
Well, and you know it has to set the Reds and their fans at ease here. Finally getting on the board, and now Brandon Phillips joins Duke Snider of the Brooklyn Dodgers, because it was Duke Snider who singled off Bob Turley with 2 outs in the first inning for the Dodgers after Larson threw the perfect game back in '56. And you were wondering how long it was going to continue, and the Reds get a big answer early from Brandon Phillips, and a no-doubter to give Cincinnati the lead.
That just sent shockwaves through this crowd too. Everything had been going their way.
It was so loud when we came on the air. This crowd has been revved up for a long time as Phillips quiets him down quickly.
Like a changeup that just didn't do anything. It just stayed right there in the inner third of the plate, and Phillips got one good to hit and didn't miss it.
And now Orlando Cabrera.
Oswalt made a couple of starts against the Reds earlier this year, but while he was with Houston, and the last one was not a good one. Cincinnati beat him 7-0, and he only lasted 5 innings, 9 hits, 6 runs, and gave up a couple of homers that day.
As Cabrera pops it up, Jimmy Rollins will make the call, and the Philly shortstop hauls it in for out number 1. MLB postseason in Espanol. Live MLB postseason Spanish language feed available via the SAP button. Another sellout here, of course. Always a sellout at Citizens Bank Park. And here's Joey Votto, MVP candidate in the National League, Joey Votto. And the Reds are coming out swinging here tonight.
They're getting some pitches to hit. That's why, Brian, he's up in the zone here to start the game.
Votto against Roy Oswalt. 10 hits and 30 at-bats. That includes a couple of home runs. Votto was in the top 3 in the National League in the 3 major categories, the Triple Crown categories. Hit .324 this year, which was second best only to Carlos Gonzalez of the Colorado Rockies. Gonzalez hit .336. Votto with 37 home runs. That was third best in the National League. 113 driven in, also third best. Trailed Pujols in those last two categories. On the corner.
And Votto gave up on that pitch. He thought it was going to be well off the plate.
Oswalt was a postseason star for the Houston Astros back in 2005. NLCS MVP that year. So he's back on the big stage. He has proven that he can pitch in the big games. Joe mentioned his numbers against Philadelphia this year with a couple of losses. But prior to this season, Roy Oswalt was 23-1 against Cincinnati. A familiar matchup between Oswalt and the Reds while he was pitching in the National League Central. Just missed. Full count.
Bruce Streckman is a home plate umpire tonight, and that wasn't well received by the sold-out crowd or by Roy Oswalt.
The 40-year-old Bruce Streckman, one of the younger umpires in Major League Baseball. Got him. Big fastball, and Votto is down on strikes.
Cut that one loose. 94, threw it right by him.
And here's Scott Rowland. Rowland, the former Philly, a Rookie of the Year with the Philadelphia Phillies. Back in '97, gets booed loudly here. Little pop up out to second base. Utley's got it. Inning over, but the Cincinnati Reds strike. The first hit by a Red in the postseason since Eddie Taubensee in 1995. A home run by Brandon Phillips, his first career leadoff home run, gives the Reds the early lead here in game two. Now the Phillies. Here's how they line up, courtesy of Charlie Manuel, with Shane Victorino leading off. Placido Polanco back in the starting lineup tonight. Chase Utley hits third with Ryan Howard in the cleanup spot. Jason Worth follows in right field. Jimmy Rollins bumped down to the 6th hole tonight. The bottom three, Raul Ibanez, Carlos Ruiz, and Roy Oswalt, in a lineup that will face the Reds' highest paid player, Bronson Arroyo, 17-game winner during the regular year.
Also 33 years old. A slim guy, 6'4", 195, a career high 17 wins. And he will throw everything, including the kitchen sink, at you. Sinking fastball, slider, curveball, even a real slow over-the-top curveball.
And Arroyo making the biggest start of his career for sure here tonight as Victorino pops it up. Votto gives chase, and he's got it for the first out.
The defense behind Bronson Arroyo tonight, and it's not one of those things where you expect the infielders to be on high alert tonight, because Arroyo is a fly ball pitcher. So Nix, Stubbs, and Bruce will have to be busy. Roland, Cabrera, Phillips, and Votto from third to first. And you see how many gold gloves are on the left side of that diamond. Outstanding defense for Cincinnati, tied for the league lead in that department with the Padres.
Just 72 errors this year for the Reds. Placido Polanco back in the starting lineup here tonight, had a back injury, and probably the most ill-timed back spasm in the history of back injuries, because not only was Polanco out of the lineup for Roy Halladay's no-hitter, he was not in the lineup in late May in Miami when Halladay threw the perfect game. So I guess he's lucky he's still in the lineup right now after the Reds have a hit. Now Charlie Manuel's glad to have him back. No cue shot. Back is Cabrera. And 2 men are out. League Division Series coverage on TBS is brought to you in HD by BMW, the ultimate driving machine.
Bronson Arroyo is a guy who can frustrate hitters because he pitches backwards, meaning he throws a lot of breaking stuff and off-speed stuff early in the count and then follows it with fastballs when it gets ahead. He finished the season with a flourish. He went 3-0 in his last 4 starts,
and only walked one batter in his last 24 innings.
Well, he has typically been a fly ball pitcher, which doesn't look like a good matchup against a home run hitting team, especially in this ballpark. But Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati, Arroyo's home park, also a hitter friendly park, and he has made a number of changes, adjustments to his pitching style to come up with his best year of his career, at least in victories. And he's always been a workhorse, and now he has the stats to back it up.
Yeah, I didn't know that he had led the league in innings pitched since he came to the Cincinnati Ball Club in '06. But takes the ball, and as Dusty Baker told us before the game, he works very hard. He's got a regimen that he sticks to no matter what, even during the All-Star break. He doesn't want to take any breaks.
Arroyo in the final year of his contract with the Cincinnati Reds. But we spoke to Walt Jocketty earlier today, the Reds general manager, and he said we are discussing a contract, and hopefully he'll be in a Reds uniform for a long time as he makes a significant start for the franchise here tonight. Ugley in the right, pretty well hit, but Bruce will run it down. 3 outs in the air, and Arroyo is off and running. The Reds 1-0. Cincinnati coming to bat.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent.
Back in Philadelphia as we head to the second inning. And Roy Oswalt giving up a home run to Brandon Phillips in the first. He'll face Lance Nix, Jay Bruce, and Drew Stubbs. In this second inning, Lance Nix, one of 2 changes in Dusty Baker's lineup today. Nix gets the call in left field for Johnny Gomes, and Ryan Hannigan, the normal catcher for Bronson Arroyo.
That pitch may have had a purpose, as Nix is 9 for 17 against him in his career.
And those numbers against Oswalt, one of the main reasons Dusty Baker puts Nix in the lineup, but he also likes his defense. A center fielder by trade, but has been mostly a left fielder with Cincinnati. But everybody wants to talk to Lance Nix about Roy Oswalt and the success, and that's the last thing a hitter wants to talk about over an off day. Baker announced him early that he would be in the starting lineup.
Well, he likes to pull the ball. He likes the ball down and in. He's got some power. He battled some injuries late in the year. He had a bad ankle. Last year he had a bulging disc in his back that put him on the shelf for some time.
That one will slice in the seats.
But it's not just the hits, Brian. I mean, he's 9 for 17, but 3 doubles, a triple, and 2 homers included in the 9 hits against Roy Oswalt.
It was a power bat in his second season in Cincinnati. Nix was injured on the 23rd of August. He was trying to leg one out in San Francisco and injured his ankle. Didn't come off the disabled list until the 17th of September. So he's only been back for about 3 weeks. And only 1 start down the stretch for the Reds leading up to this postseason. So just his second start since coming off the disabled list.
Yeah, Oswalt is just missing. He's not getting some borderline calls he may be used to getting, but that fastball had some good run on it. And the count goes full as a result of it missing outside.
Hard hit ground ball. Utley makes a nice play and throws it high, but oh, Howard comes off the bag and Nix is safe. Even at 6'4", Ryan Howard could not keep a toe on the bag.
Chase Utley, a very good fielding second baseman with good range because of his quickness, but this one he sidearmed a little bit. You can see it was a good call down there at first by Sam Holbrook. And as the throw pulled Howard off. By the way, Sam Holbrook wants to wish get well thoughts, and we do too, to his folks who are both in the hospital in Kentucky.
Yeah, proud to watch their son in the postseason for sure. As Jay Bruce cut and a miss. One of the 6 umpires. Holbrook will have the plate on Sunday. This series will continue in Cincinnati Sunday with Johnny Cueto for the Reds against Cole Hamels for the Phillies. Bruce to the opposite field, playable for Ibanez. And one away in the second.
They're getting some good swings, Brian. They're getting some good pitches to hit so far. A whole lot more than they got here a couple of nights ago.
Well, it was almost laughable for the Cincinnati Reds from their own perspective facing Roy Halladay, who barely found the sweet spot of the bat for any of these Cincinnati hitters. It is no hitter on Wednesday. And the old saying in baseball, sometimes you have to tip your hat. And that's exactly what the Reds did with Roy Halladay, which is going to be a different story here tonight, you figure, as that one gets away and nicks into second base. So a wild pitch.
Well, that wasn't even close. And it missed the glove and got a piece of Ruiz. Roy off to a little bit of a rough start here.
Big cut from Drew Stubbs. Stubbs emerging as the everyday center fielder for the Reds down the stretch and right after the trade deadline. 22 home runs this year for Stubbs and 30 steals this season for the Reds center fielder.
He's going to be a terrific player in this league for a long time because he can do so many things to help the Reds win. Great speed, good arm, good outfielder, and his hitting is improving all the time. Struck out a lot this year, but he improved on that in the latter third of the season when he really started coming around hitting the ball to all fields.
There's a good block by Ruiz.
Boy, oh boy, is he cranking on that breaking ball. Another one well out in front of the plate, and this time a good stop by Ruiz going to his right.
That could be a big play if that gets by him. A runner at third with 1 out. But Ruiz makes the stop. Nick's still at second. And Stubbs had a good cut. Well, you're right, Joe. The Reds are getting some good early hacks against Roy Oswalt. Starting with a home run by Phillips, but some of the outs, some good swings.
This guy's got power too. You mentioned the 30-20 season, 30 stolen bases, 22 homers, and he's got power to all fields.
Just off the plate.
Not getting his breaking ball over, and not even close enough to get the hitters to chase.
Full count. Got a runner at second, and Stubbs launches one foul. Out ahead of one.
That's another changeup, just like the one that Phillips hit out of the ballpark in the first inning, that stayed up and out over the plate, and Roy Oswalt got away with one there big time.
That one missed. Same spot. Stubbs didn't chase. Couple of good takes on the slider from Drew Stubbs, and now the Reds with 2 fast base runners on and 1 away for Ryan Hanigan. Hanigan part of the catching platoon for the Cincinnati Reds. He and Ramon Hernandez share the duties. Hernandez gets most of the starts, but Hanigan plays a lot as well, especially when Bronson Arroyo is on the mound. And these 2 catchers swing the bat very well. Hanigan known more as a defensive specialist. He had a terrific year at the plate this season.
Yeah, he was a great compliment to Hernandez. 200 at bats, and their batting average at 296 combined for the best among all the playoff teams.
And when you get offense from your catchers, all 4 of those teams in the postseason, that's a big bonus. Well, it's a key at bat early for Cincinnati, a 1-0 lead. You got the pitcher coming up next in Arroyo. There's a way out of this inning for Oswalt, but this is the key hitter with the pitcher next.
He's just not very comfortable at all here in the first couple of innings. He's changed baseballs a lot. He did just make a good pitch with his breaking ball. First good curveball really he's thrown in the game.
Oh, 0-2 on Hannigan. Well, Oswalt has had great success here at Citizens Bank Park. 10 starts, 9-0 record, 2.10 earned run average. He came to the Phillies on the 29th of July. Astros made a couple of big deals, trading away faces of the franchise in Oswalt and Lance Berkman. And Oswalt said he loves pitching in this ballpark. He says standing on the mound here feels like 55 feet, not 60 feet 6 inches for some reason.
Well, if that's the case, then he's thrown some 45-foot breaking balls. Carlos Ruiz, who was in the rocking chair all night 2 nights ago with Halladay, has been anything but comfortable behind the plate. He's had to block several pitches in the dirt already. And how about Halladay? Only shook him off 1 time all night during the no-hitter, and that was to the last batter, Brandon Phillips.
Another one down to the dirt. So Oswalt struggling with his command of the changeup and the breaking stuff. And already 21 pitches here in the second.
And as good as his fastball is, if the hitters have a feeling that he can't get that off-speed stuff over, that fastball is going to get hit hard.
Had him down 0-2, now 2-2. And a chance here. Rollins to Utley. And it gets away, and another run will score. Nick scores the run. On his way to second is Hannigan. And a couple of errors for Chase Utley in the Philadelphia second inning. 2-0 Reds.
Two errors and a wild pitch, something that doesn't normally play into any game the Phillies play. They were among the league leaders in defense. Let's see if Stubbs got a piece of Chase on the throw. He did hit him in the foot, but that throw short and off to the side, and Howard can't come up with it. Another run in.
That'll be a fielder's choice and an error as Oswalt starts Arroyo with a strike. Give Hannigan a run batted in on that play. Can't assume a double play. And it's 2-0 Reds. Just exactly what the Reds wanted to do here against the Phillies. As Dusty Baker said, we want to punch him in the mouth quickly, quiet this crowd down, and give our club a little confidence moving forward. Beg your pardon, no RBI for Hannigan as Oswalt strikes out Arroyo. So a couple of runs on the board for Arroyo as we head to the second inning.
Welcome back to Citizens Bank Park, where the Reds lead the Phillies 2-0 in Game 2 of the division series. I'm David Aldridge. A lot of people speculated that Cincinnati needed the day off on Thursday to put Roy Halladay's no-hitter out of their minds, but Brandon Phillips told us the team's healing actually began during Halladay's no-no in the bottom of the 6th inning. That's when relief pitcher Logan Ondrusek airmailed a comebacker by Raul Ibanez. 3 batters later, it was Roy Halladay, and you saw Ondrusek sprinting to first base to make sure he didn't make that mistake again. It cracked his teammates up, and they've been pretty loose ever since. For his part, Phillips says he does not mind at all being the last out of the historic game. He said, every time I looked at the TV, I saw myself running down to first base. And I said, yeah, I'm famous. Brian?
And he shares something with his manager now. Dusty Baker, the final out in one of Nolan Ryan's no-hitters. No-hitter number 5 for Ryan as Ryan Howard delivers a base hit to center field. So the Phillies come back, get a leadoff single in the second inning after Arroyo had retired the side in order in the first. That seems like the Reds, you know, a lot of teams can say they're resilient. You don't know until you find out in a postseason scenario, but the Reds certainly have been and were in the regular season. Some of their best moments of the year came immediately after some of their lowest moments of the season.
Like that sweep by the Phillies here right before the All-Star break. They came back after the break and played well.
Got swept by the Cardinals in their home ballpark this year. The Cardinals at the point had taken a 1-game lead. Cincinnati then won 7 straight and ended up winning the division over the St. Louis Cardinals by 5 games. Jason Worth with Howard at first. Worth in the final year of his contract with the Phillies as well. Many wondering what uniform he'll be sporting next season. He's been a big postseason performer for the Phillies. And one of the advantages that Charlie Manuel has is so much experience, familiarity, and some of the same names up and down this lineup.
His swing is a very short finish, powerful. One of the few guys in baseball anymore, along with Chase Utley, that you see keep both hands on the bat all the way through the swing.
Drew Stubbs. And that is the first out, and all of the outs so far tonight, Joe, coming in the air.
That's because he gave up more fly ball outs than anybody in the National League. Actually second in the league in that category. His numbers against the Phillies, not very good. 1-5 in his career. He's lost his last 4, but check that out on the bottom line too. His last start against them was June of '08. He's a different pitcher than he was then, in that he has come up with a little better sinker on his fastball and willing to use his fastball more than he did a couple of years ago. Throws 86 to 90. Can run it and sink it. His curveball can dip down as low as 67 miles an hour when he flips that slow curve up there. But he's got to be precise.
Well, Arroyo has been a Red since 2006. Had some postseason experience with the Boston Red Sox and was part of that Red Sox World Series championship team. One of his teammates from that team, the Cincinnati shortstop Cabrera. And easy play out there for Nix. 2 outs as Rollins is retired. Let's take a look at tonight's Blackberry Torch stat summary. National League wins leaders, a couple of 20-game winners in the NL. Halladay led the league with 21 victories. Ubaldo Jimenez of the Rockies, tough luck story down the stretch for him. He was a 15-game winner at the All-Star break and finished the year with 19 in this, the second coming of the year of the pitcher in our Blackberry Torch stat summary. Boy, we've seen some great pitching performances already in this postseason. The signature moment, the Halladay no-hitter, but Tim Lincecum was impressive last night for the San Francisco Giants. Halladay faced 28 batters on Wednesday. Lincecum faced 30 batters last night in the defeat of the Braves in that complete game 2 hitter.
Struck out 14. When you're talking about year of the pitcher, it also extended so far into the postseason with Halladay and Lincecum lighting it up. Cliff Lee and C.J. Wilson of the Texas Rangers also outstanding against Tampa. And Andy Pettitte. Man, oh man, how about that 19th career postseason win last night against the Twins?
But none better than Doc.
Arroyo, you saw him in his windup. You saw the high leg kick, but out of the stretch, he shortens that up a lot. In fact, You could almost call this a slide step because it's so quick to the plate, and as a result, very hard to run on him. Only 6 stolen bases against him all year.
It's so important for Arroyo to manage the running game. He's the guy who gives up his fair share of hits. Dips down sidearm, trying to sneak one by Ibanez. And the count evens at 2-2. Best way to describe him, he messes with hitters.
Yeah, boy.
He does whatever he can. He'll throw it over the top, 3/4, sidearm. Has a variety of pitches to call on as well. That one's over the top, and a roller out to Cabrera. The Gold Glover makes a play. Ibanez retired, so a leadoff single by Howard, but 2 scoreless for Bronson Arroyo. Under the lights of Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia. Brian Anderson with Joe Simpson, David Aldridge. Great to have you with us tonight. Game 2 of this National League Division Series. And Roy Oswalt behind early. The Reds coming out banging tonight. Phillips with a home run to start it. As Phillips takes one on the inner half.
Beautiful night, too, isn't it? About 70 degrees. Very little wind.
Well, the Reds get the start they want with Brandon Phillips, and he rips that one into left center. That'll fall a base hit. So Brandon Phillips with 2 hits.
And another pitch that had the center of the plate. That was what was so remarkable about Halliday's effort, is how maybe 1 or 2 pitches found the center of the plate all night 2 nights ago. And the Reds are jumping on all these pitches that are catching the middle tonight.
Now we'll see if the Reds put the running game in motion here against Oswalt. Cabrera pulls one into left field, a base hit. The Reds aggressive early against Oswalt. Back-to-back hits for Cincinnati to start this 3rd inning. 2 on, nobody out, with their MVP coming up in Joey Votto.
I think the word has spread already in their dugout, Brian, that he's not getting his breaking stuff and off-speed stuff over. And when he does, it's real hittable. So he's making a lot of mistakes. Brandon Phillips talked about that a little bit before the game, in fact, about being able to jump on any mistakes he makes.
And now one of the best hitters in the National League this year, Joey Votto. A big cut. Votto struck out his last time up. One of 2 Oswalt strikeouts tonight. Oswalt has challenged Votto with a fastball. He's one of the best fastball hitters around, but put one by him in the 1st inning.
He does like the ball out away from him. If he's looking to pull something, he can yank it. Good low ball hitter. One of the toughest outs in the league these days.
Votto is in swing mode with every pitch. Big chance to drive in some runs for Cincinnati, and Votto's the kind of hitter that can give you a quick strike as well. Big power to all fields. Might have more power to the opposite field side than his pull side.
Yeah, he really, his first thought is left center, and then he will turn on the ball if you make a mistake inside. And he's confident. He trusts his hands to be able to turn on anything inside.
And Oswalt not comfortable on the mound. Hitters count for Votto, 2 on, and there's a strike. Snuck one by him.
Good movement on that fastball.
Phillies are looking for a ground ball to turn 2. As Votto lifts one in the air, back is Rollins. Ibanez will make the call. And a big out for Roy Oswalt. Had a chance to visit with Brandon Phillips before the game. We talked about the matchup against Roy Oswalt.
Just get him early. You know, it's good because he likes to throw a lot of fastballs, and you know, you just got to jump on them, hit his mistakes. That's basically it. You got to hit Oswalt's mistakes because he makes a lot of mistakes. And, you know, once he make the mistakes, if you miss it, then that's when his nasty stuff just come in.
And Brandon was very prophetic about that. There have been some mistakes made tonight, and the Reds have taken advantage so far.
A couple of runs in. Phillips had the homer in the first. The second run came on a couple of Utley errors. Lance Nix scoring in the second inning. Now Scott Rowland. If you're watching this series, you're wondering why Rowland gets booed so loudly. A former Philly that a career that didn't end well here as he was traded to the St. Louis Cardinals in '02. He was basically the face of the franchise back at Veterans Stadium. They were 2 years away from opening Citizens Bank Park, and Rowland made it pretty clear he was going to test the free agent market. Made sure that he was going to have a chance, at least in free agency, to receive other offers, and that did not sit well with Phillies fans.
Let's be honest, too. He didn't get along with Larry Boa, who was the manager at the time, too. Rookie of the year with the Phillies.
So many comparisons to Mike Schmidt. He was the man here in Philadelphia. They invested a lot of time, these fans, in Scott Rowland. And when his tenure ended, it did not end well. But had some monster years as a Philly.
He doesn't look it, but the guy is huge. He's 6'4", 250 pounds. Just a rock. And Oswalt and Ruiz really having a hard time getting together here.
Ball and 2 strikes on Rowland. Popped him up. Ruiz will give it a look. That one's going to end up in the seats.
Brandon Phillips has been doing a little dancing around out there like he'd love to take off. He bluffed a few pitches ago, and it almost caused Orlando Cabrera to get hung up between first and second. Cabrera had to hustle back to the bag because he's keeping an eye on him. So part of what Roy Oswalt is doing, stepping off, may be because Phillips is distracting him some.
Now the Reds with 93 steals during the regular year in the upper half of the National League as Rowland strikes out. Well, a big out for Roy Oswalt. He's starting to dial it in a little bit. Retires Votto and Rowland with 2 on.
Change up, big change up there for the out. It was still up, but Scott missed it.
A lot of stressful pitches early for Oswalt. A couple of runs are in. Now 2 outs, though, in this third inning. After back-to-back singles to start the frame from Phillips and Cabrera. Lance Nix. Ruiz to the screen. Not a lot of foul territory here.
Another look at this swing from Scott Rowland on the changeup. He missed a little time near the end of the season with a bad back and walked real slowly back to the dugout. We'll have to keep an eye on him.
Nix had a good cut against Oswalt in the second. Hit the ball hard on the ground to Utley. Was ruled an error, a throwing error. And this is the big card that Dusty Baker plays here tonight. You follow the Reds on a daily basis. You know that Nix has been in the picture this season. He played in 97 games for Dusty Baker this year. Well, for a postseason lineup for a guy who spent a month on the disabled list with an ankle injury and not much playing time after he came off the DL.
And speaking of rock, 6 feet 220 for Lance Nix. Was with the Reds last year, played out his option, became a free agent, was not re-signed by anyone until the Reds offered him a contract to come to spring training. A lot of pitches for Roy Oswalt and a lot of pitches out of the zone. He's been pitching behind in the count a lot.
2 balls and a strike on Lance Nix. 2 on for the Reds, and Nix a big cut and a miss. Got the fastball he was looking for, but Oswalt put it in the right spot.
Yeah, 2-seamer that he ran away from him. He knows how much Nix likes to pull the ball. Started that at the outer third of the plate and ran it off the end of his bat. Good pitch.
And a cut and a miss. Roy Oswalt survives the third. He strands 2. But the Reds are chipping away at the Philly starter. 2-0 Cincinnati. Two to nothing Cincinnati, and we remind you can catch all the action of the 2010 Major League Baseball Division Series on TBS. First of a doubleheader today, all National League today on TBS. At the Giants hosting the Atlanta Braves a little bit later. Ashburn Alley. Out of the outfield here, one of the great stops as you walk around the concourses of Citizens Bank Park, named after Richie Ashburn.
Yeah, they have preserved their history real well in this new ballpark. Not so new anymore, but it still feels new.
The former batting champion, Richie Ashburn, won a couple of them actually. Carlos Ruiz will lead off for Philadelphia. So far, Bronson Arroyo has had good command. Gave up a hit to Ryan Howard to lead off the second, but all of his outs, with the exception of Ibanez ground out 2 in the second, in the air. And that's about on par with what Arroyo does normally. That was another part of Dusty Baker's plan with Lance Nix. Because of the outs in the air, the Reds are much improved defensively in left field tonight.
And again, starting off a good fastball hitter with off-speed stuff early. Let's see if he goes to a fastball ahead in the count to waste a pitch to see if he'll chase. They're going to try something up and in.
And that's really been the difference maker for Bronson Arroyo. That was not a strike, but that was exactly where he wanted to put it. For so many years, hitters were just willing and able to lean out over the plate to chase his breaking stuff, and he'd give up a lot of hits. But the fastball inside, the one he commands, and the sinker ball you're talking about has changed him as a pitcher. He's a much different pitcher now than when he last faced the Phillies a couple of years ago.
It's kind of hard to believe that he hasn't faced them in 2 years, especially when you think about that 4-game series when they came in here in July. Just so happened it wasn't his turn. He's the only starter that they didn't see. Talking about the Phillies. So it's been a while since they've seen him. They know what he throws. They know what he likes to throw. But I don't know that they are used to that sinker that's become such a good pitch for him.
Now Ruiz is a good test for any pitcher, especially in the postseason. Coming off his best year offensively, he is known as the rock defensively for the Phillies. Such a key member of this ball club. But he is a pest offensively as well. A 300 hitter this year, an on-base percentage of 400 from the bottom of the batting order. And he will sit up there and foul pitches off for an eternity, it seems, if you're on the mound. A 300 hitter in the postseason, and he's done some of his best work offensively in the World Series. And he draws a walk. An ideal number 8 hitter in the National League lineup. It'll give Oswalt a chance to get a bunt down as we check in with David Aldridge. David?
Well, guys, you talk about Ruiz, and one of the things that's made the Phillies so successful over the last few years is the bottom of their lineup. Whether it's Ruiz, Raul Ibanez this year, Wilson Valdez, maybe Pedro Feliz in years past, but Charlie Manuel said it yesterday. One of the reasons you look at Jimmy Rollins having 60, 65 RBIs in a given season is that these guys not only flip the lineup over, but they're so productive at the bottom. They get guys on base. As Oswalt pops out, these guys get on base, and they set the table for the top of the lineup to drive runs in, Brian.
Well, you're right, Brian. David, I agree with you 100%. There are no soft spots from an average standpoint on those guys. They put the ball in play. They don't strike out a lot. So they put a little pressure on the defense, and you're right. They do get on board for the top of the order. I think that's what separates their lineup from most, is how solid it is from 1 through 8.
Well, back to the top now, Shane Victorino. Oswalt normally a good bunter, but unable to execute and advance the runner here. So one away with a runner at first in Ruiz. And Victorino batting for the second time against Arroyo. Yesterday, Shane Victorino, or rather Wednesday, with 2 hits. He drove in 2 big runs in the second inning. Turns out Halladay only needed 1. But with all the talk about Roy Halladay and the lack of offense for Cincinnati, the Phillies had just 5 hits.
Yeah.
They scored 4 runs on those 5 hits. Victorino had 2. Halladay had 1. There wasn't much offense on either side here on Wednesday.
The Phillies didn't have a hit after the 3rd inning. There's another delivery from a different angle, sidearm delivery, just to give the hitter a different look. Trying to run the ball down and away from Victorino. So far, so good for Bronson Arroyo. He's throwing everything he's got, and he's mixing his pitches well. He and Hannigan working well together.
Swing roller. Count stays at a ball at 2 strikes. Now Dusty Baker deciding on Edinson Volquez for his game 1 starter. He wanted to go with the power of Volquez and wanted this series to settle in before he broke out his best pitcher this year statistically in Bronson Arroyo with the 17 wins this season. And he is glad he has his most experienced pitcher on the mound here tonight. After the Reds falling behind in this series 1-0, the second game of a series is so important in a best-of-5 scenario.
Especially when you're down 0-1 already.
There's Edinson Volquez. Still no word yet from Dusty Baker. He was non-committal on who will be his game 4 starter if this series gets there. It could be Travis Wood, who pitched well out of the bullpen. It could be Volquez.
And we know that neither one, Wood or Volquez, is available tonight.
Victorino's a tough guy to double up. He runs well. As Arroyo misses, and Victorino has worked the count to 2-2.
That was some smart pitching, though. Victorino got a pitch up, and Arroyo got away with it. He fouled it back, but he went up just a little bit higher, hoping that maybe Shane Victorino would chase it. He didn't. But he feels that confident right now about his command.
That was pulled down the right field line. Jay Bruce at the track. He's got it. Ruiz scampers back. Look at the arm from Jay Bruce. Wow, what a throw. Ruiz is back, but Bruce makes his mark again. He had a throw in game 1 that was off the charts, and this one was pretty impressive too.
Powerful, powerful arm, and he can play any of the outfield spots. I'm still amazed at how Shane Victorino got around on that pitch that might not have even been a strike. Look at the target set up inside. It did have the inside corner, and he got around on it, got the barrel to it.
Kind of remind you of that swing he had against Jonathan Broxton of the Los Angeles Dodgers, except he barreled up on that one and drove it out of the ballpark. Back inside comes Arroyo to start Polanco. Well, you know he's not 100%, but he's good enough to go tonight. Both teams worked out yesterday. Polanco was able to hit, stretch out, and the back spasms subsided. He's able to get in the lineup here tonight for Charlie Manuel. And for Charlie, these are his A players, his A lineup here. But it has not been a lineup that he's been able to go to regularly this season. They haven't been all healthy together very often.
Yeah, it's only their 17th game in 2010 where they've all been together. That's pretty remarkable when you think about how well the Phillies hung in there before they went to the whip there in August and September, because they missed so many key players in their lineup all year long.
Ryan Howard missed time with an ankle injury. Chase Utley had the surgery on his thumb. Rollins was out early in the season with a calf injury. That one's hit well to left. Lance Nix right there. And the side retired. So Bronson Arroyo, 3 scoreless on the board, 2-0 Cincinnati. Well, October is the postseason and November is Conan. Today's aerial coverage is made possible by AT&T, and Conan premieres November 8th right here on TBS. The big orange blimp. The cradle of the country here tonight in Philadelphia. Hardly noticeable up there. It looks great.
It's providing some beautiful shots.
So Roy Oswalt back on the mound here. We go to the 4th inning. 2-0 our score. Philadelphia with a couple of errors, both by Chase Utley. That happened in the 2nd after Phillips led off with a home run in the 1st to quiet down this crowd for the time being. Oswalt making a lot of pitches, and a lot of pitches from the stretch here in the early going. Jay Bruce leads off for the Reds. That one's hit well. This is way back, and Jay Bruce has gone downtown. So the Reds breaking out the power, the best home run hitting team in the National League this year. Bruce had 25 this season. His first postseason home run gives Cincinnati a 3-0 lead.
And it was crushed. This one goes into the 2nd deck here at Citizens Bank Park. Pitch that ran back out over the middle of the plate. And it was hit up in the Ryan Howard type territory. He had 3 homers in his last 4 at-bats in the regular season.
Well, up and down this Reds lineup, they can hit the long ball for sure.
Just when it looked like Roy Oswalt was kind of finding his way, striking out Rolen and Nix to end the 3rd inning with runners aboard, he gives up the leadoff homer here in the 4th.
And really, for the first time in front of the Philadelphia fans this year, Oswalt is struggling. He really only had 1 bad start as a Philly. That was his first start in Washington against the Nationals. Other than that, he was lights out for the Phillies after being traded from the Houston Astros. Cut and a miss, and a strikeout for Oswalt. That is his 5th. As we check in with Matt Weiner in our TBS studios in Atlanta. Matt.
All right, Brian, let's get a game break presented by Bank of America. We want to remind folks to stick around after our doubleheader when our closer has a conversation with the most successful closer in Major League postseason history. Dennis Eckersley and Mariano Rivera discuss their craft. That's after the Braves and Giants, and of course, after the Reds and Phillies wrap up their business there in Philadelphia. Brian?
All right, Matt, thanks a lot. Looking forward to the nightcap tonight out west in San Francisco. And 2 very good pitching ball clubs, the Braves and the San Francisco Giants.
Great game last night. Well pitched by both sides.
Ryan Hannigan with one away. A Jay Bruce leadoff home run here in the fourth, and a 3-0 Cincinnati lead.
I mean, he got all of that one.
Now Hannigan down the right field line. That is slicing, and it is just foul. Almost an extra base hit for the Reds catcher.
John Hirschbeck working down the right field line after having the plate for the no-hitter. In good position there. As you said, Brian, not a whole lot of foul territory, especially when you get down into the corners in left and right field.
Ball and 2 strikes on Hannigan. And a bouncing ball out to Jimmy Rollins, who bobbles, recovers, and it's just in time to get Hannigan. Anybody but the catcher. And we're looking at a third Philadelphia error. Instead, the second out.
You're right, Brian. This was a good recovery here by Rollins from the grass. And another short hop to Ryan Howard. He handles this one. 2 errors already in the ball game by Chase Utley, and that's only the 4th time in his career that he's made 2 errors in a game.
Good scoop by Howard as Arroyo lines one to left. So the inning is over, but Jay Bruce from Beaumont, Texas, his first postseason clout, and it's 3-0. Cincinnati 3, Philadelphia 0 as we head to the bottom of the 4th inning. The Phillies coming up. These fanatic Philly fans, they know when they have to offer a little extra support for their club, and right now the Reds have come in here. They've swung the bat well. Bronson Arroyo has 3 scoreless innings. And Cincinnati has done exactly what they had hoped early in this game after the Roy Halladay no-hitter on Wednesday.
The early runs, Brian, so big. We talked about it before the game, but so good for Bronson Arroyo, given the way he pitches and knowing that he's going to be working out of the stretch some tonight. He's got some breathing room, and he needed that.
Well, 8 of his 9 outs in the air so far tonight. Chase Utley leads off, Ryan Howard, then Jason Worth. And for the Reds, the closer they get to their bullpen, which is their strength. They have a lot of power in their bullpen. They have matchup potential in their bullpen. The better off they will be. While the Phillies feature a great starting rotation, experienced hitters in their lineup offensively, the Reds count on that pen to take them to the finish line on most nights.
Boy, 2 back-to-back outstanding pitches. One a slow curveball, backed that up with a changeup that was at 78 miles an hour. It was right on the inside corner, right at the target.
Chase Utley standing right on top of the plate. And that is a tough spot to hit. Arroyo rings the bell on Utley. And 1 away in this 4th inning. And between innings, we had a chance to visit with Reds pitching coach Brian Price. We asked him about his starting pitcher tonight.
Well, you know, for me with Bronson, it's always about throwing the right pitch for the situation. Some pitchers always stay with their strength, don't want to get beat with their 3rd best pitch. And in Bronson's case, he throws the pitch that needs to be thrown, and he's been pretty good so far.
Brian, is this a case, since he has not faced the Reds in 2 years, has he got a little bit of an advantage here, especially when he's made some improvements with his sinker?
You know, it's hard to figure out who's got the advantage here. You know, I mean, some of these hitters have a history against Bronson, and you know, everybody's on their A game right now. Everyone's locked in, and these guys, the Phillies, are bearing down in their at bats. They certainly have a lot of data on Bronson. They've seen a lot of film, so I don't know if there's an advantage either way. It's going to come down to who executes. So far for the first early innings of the ball game, he's done a really nice job executing.
And we appreciate Brian Price joining us between innings, first-year pitching coach of the Cincinnati Reds, and he mentioned that he makes the right kind of pitches in the right kind of spots, and That strikeout to Chase Utley, a great example of that. There are so few pitchers who can thread the needle on the inside corner to Utley. That's why he typically leads the league in hit by pitches.
It's like he turned that changeup over though and got it to back up a little bit for the call.
And his first strikeout comes back in there against Howard and dots the corner with another strike.
That was just about his best fastball so far tonight at 89. Doing a great job with his off-speed stuff and his location, as he demonstrated to Utley. And that's what he had to do.
Such a big part of the batting order for the Phillies. In the 4-0 win on Wednesday, Utley, Howard, and Worth went hitless as Howard draws the walk. So Howard with the only hit for Philadelphia. The second walk now given up by Arroyo and a base runner for Jason Worth.
It's odd to think about this, but against right-handed hitters this year, we've got the top two pitchers in terms of average against. Bronson Arroyo just a 185 average against him by right-handed hitters, and Roy Oswalt second at 196. I bet you didn't know that.
A great number. Gives you an idea of the success of Bronson Arroyo this year and the fact that you can do it in different ways. Oswalt does it with that high octane delivery, max effort they say, and the big fastball. Arroyo, in scouting terms, pitches pretty.
Yeah,
he's very smooth.
Pretty tricky. Well, there's a lot to like about Bronson Arroyo, not just those numbers, but the fact that he takes the ball every start, averaging over 32 starts and 200 innings for the last 6 years. 215 innings this year.
Falling behind Jason Worth. This is the one spot that the newfound sinker ball from Bronson Arroyo can help get him through games, as he sends one on the corner there for a strike. In the past, he was hardly in a position to get the ground ball double plays to get him out of a tough spot. And you got to give him a lot of credit. At the age of 32, when he made the switch to come up with something new. Whatever it takes to survive in this league, right?
Exactly. Got to make adjustments if you want to stay. He was originally drafted by the Pirates back in '95. He was a third-round draft pick, and then actually claimed on waivers by the Red Sox in '03 from the Pirates. And then the Reds got him from Boston for Willie Mo Pena just prior to the 2006 season.
2 balls, 2 strikes, and Worth, a base hit right field. So Jason Worth delivers a 2-strike hit, and here come the Phillies, 2 on, just 1 out.
Good piece of hitting there by Jason Worth, who you usually associate as a guy who tries to hit the ball out of the ballpark all the time. With that off-speed pitch, he stayed back, kept his hands back, and took advantage of the hole on the right side.
Philadelphia with their best opportunity and runs. First time they've had a runner in scoring position against Arroyo. Rollins hit leadoff on Wednesday, but the fact he's not running well, he's been dealing with a hamstring problem that has slowed him somewhat. So Charlie Manuel drops him in the batting order to 6th. A bouncer, a chance for 2 here. Phillips to Cabrera, the jump throw in time. Bronson Arroyo dialing up the ground ball just when he needs it. And he's out of the inning.
Cabrera had to jump for that toss and may have injured himself on the jump.
Goodyear Assurance Fuel Max tires save you 2,600 miles in gas, so you can drive to the Washington Monument, or the Grand Canyon, or catch a home game at the oldest baseball stadium in America. Assurance Fuel Max. More miles, less gas.
Back in Philadelphia, 3-0 Cincinnati, but cause for concern for the Cincinnati Reds. Their starting shortstop, Orlando Cabrera, has gone back into the clubhouse, grabbing his left side. And Joe, that is an injury that he suffered earlier this year. As Phillips goes down the line, that's a fair ball, and it's going to go down into the corner. And Brandon Phillips with his third hit tonight. It's a leadoff double for Cincinnati.
Well, he wasn't kidding when he was talking about being ready for any mistakes Roy Oswalt might make. He came into the game, though, a .316 career hitter against Roy.
And he is a triple away from the cycle right now. And you might have heard the announcement. He announced Orlando Cabrera, but actually it's going to be Paul Janisch. And there's your answer. So Janisch, who is the backup shortstop, a very good defensive shortstop, will enter this game for Cabrera. That could be a tough blow for Cincinnati. And Janisch drops a bunt down, advances Phillips. Nicely done. Sacrifice bunt. And Phillips to third base with one out, and Joey Votto coming up.
That's what he can do, though. He can play terrific defense. They won't miss much there defensively. He's not as good an offensive player as Cabrera, but if he can do little things like that to help out, much appreciated by the guys in the dugout.
You got to give him a lot of credit right there, getting ready in a hurry. And up there to bunt in the game quickly with Cabrera due up second in the inning. Cabrera injured his oblique, that same side on the left side, August 3rd, as the Reds played the Pittsburgh Pirates. Well, the bunt advances Phillips. The infield is in now for Philadelphia as they try to tack on here in the fifth inning.
Oh, man, what a swing. Got it by him, though. 94 upstairs. He had a good cut at it.
Boy, what a contrast, Joe, from Wednesday. The noise in this building Wednesday, deafening. One of the loudest ballparks you'll ever experience. But it is a golf crowd right now. Some anxious fans watching Citizens Bank, and that one is crushed deep left center field, way back, and Ibanez will catch it at the wall, plenty deep to score Phillips. Votto delivers. They call him Votomatic for moments like that, and the big RBI producer delivers the Reds to a 4-0 lead.
The way the ball jumps out of here to left field, I thought that one was going to go out for sure. Died a little bit right at the warning track. First RBI of the postseason for Votto,
who drove in 113 during the regular season. Now Scott Rowland, 2 outs, bases empty. Another run is in right off the end of the bat. And Oswalt will make the play to end the inning. The Reds play a little small ball. They get a leadoff double from Phillips, a sac bunt, and a sac fly. 4-0 Cincinnati. Well, Cincinnati has a 4-0 lead here through 4.5. Tonight's National League Division Series coverage on TBS, presented by BlackBerry. Watson Arroyo has allowed just 2 hits. Ryan Howard and Jason Worth with the base hits. A couple of walks allowed by Arroyo as well. Cincinnati now without their starting shortstop, Orlando Cabrera. Paul Janisch came on to drop a sacrifice bunt down. It led to a run. Now Janisch takes over at short.
and those little things in the postseason are so big, Brian. You can't underscore how terrific it is to have a guy come off the bench and contribute like that. Just got to do those little things in big games to add single runs to leads here and there.
Now Roy Oswalt's spot due up third in this fifth inning. Raul Ibanez leads off. So it looks like it is going to be a short night for Roy Oswalt, who At this moment, 5 innings and 4 runs allowed. 3 of them earned. Ibanez grounded out his last time up. Only 2 batted balls on the ground tonight for Arroyo, but the one that ended the 4th inning, a big one at the 4-6-3 double play from Jimmy Rollins. Philadelphia with 2 on and 1 out at the time.
Big double play, but apparently it's costing their shortstop. We'll pass along any information we get on Orlando Cabrera as soon as it becomes available.
Now the Reds putting on display their prolific offense this season. Cincinnati led the National League in batting average, in runs, in home runs, and tonight at least you're seeing the power of the Reds, also seeing good fundamental execution by Cincinnati, giving Arroyo the 4-0 lead early.
Yeah, it's just, again, you get the leadoff double, you get him over, and then you got your number 3 hitter standing there ready to drive him in.
Coming inside, and Ibanez gets sawed off, fouls it back. Look at the numbers for Bronson Arroyo. You like to go on what he did lately. His last 24 innings during the regular season, just 1 walk, and had that 3-0 record as well. So Arroyo, you know, he's in good form with good command, which, as Joe mentioned, what he has to have to be successful without the big overpowering fastball.
But he was 0-2 here to Ibanez, who's put up a good fight here, fought off some pitches. He's now 3-2.
And takes a little off on a 3-2 pitch.
He just won't give in. I mean, it doesn't matter what the count is, and he's got the luxury of the 4-run lead, so there's no real reason for him to just run a fastball down the middle. He could throw just a get over breaking ball or a change up, and that's what he threw Ibanez there. Was a pretty good change.
See what he has in mind for him here. Full count to Ibanez. Another change up.
Remember, this guy's got some postseason experience too with the Red Sox, so he's been here before.
Hit hard to right. That is a leadoff single as Ibanez delivers a base hit. Philadelphia has had 3 leadoff base runners reach.
Well, again, he's going to pitch with guys on base tonight. We knew that coming in. He's not a strikeout artist, but he has to command his emotions and he has to command his pitches, and so far tonight he's done both.
And here is Carlos Ruiz. Long battle between Ibanez and Arroyo. Ruiz walked in the 3rd inning, one of 2 Arroyo walks at this point. Well, and how different does this 4-0 game feel than the 4-0 game we saw on Wednesday?
Well, they've taken the crowd out of it. That was a big part of it in the 1st inning.
There's a strike to Ruiz.
An 81-mile-an-hour changeup.
And a breaking ball in the air to right. Jay Bruce, 4 out, number 1. And Charlie Manuel is going to go to his bench early. So Roy Oswalt in his Phillies debut in the postseason, last just 5 innings. His spot on the batting order is coming up. And Dominic Brown will come on to hit.
Dominic Brown, their #1 prospect in the minor leagues at the beginning of the year, got called up about halfway through. Didn't play a whole lot down the stretch, but he is a prized outfield prospect in the Phillies organization. And with Jason Worth becoming a free agent at the end of the year, if he does not re-sign with the Phillies, this guy has an odds-on chance of being their everyday right fielder next year.
It's kind of the Phillies' answer to Tampa Bay's Desmond Jennings. Getting some late season experience and now postseason experience as Arroyo slips a sidearm slinger in there for strike 1.
From the same high school as Brandon Phillips in Stone Mountain, Georgia, Redan High School.
How about that? Strike. Back over the top, and he surprised Brown.
One sidearm, one over the top. Now let's see what happens.
Brown batting for Oswalt, 1 away, runner at first here in the 5th inning.
Exactly where Hannigan wanted that one. Ryan Hannigan said about Bronson Arroyo yesterday, he said, you know, you may beat him, but you're not going to upset him. He's a cool customer, and he's really cool under pressure.
It'll be a tough play. Giannis fires a second, and they get the out. So a good play. Paul Giannis being tested quickly in the game for Orlando Cabrera. Nice play by the Red shortstop for out number 2.
And a good choice, too, knowing that Dominic Brown runs well and is getting down the line in a hurry.
Top of the order here is Shane Victorino. Back in the leadoff spot tonight for Charlie Manuel. Victorino actually had more leadoff appearances for the Phillies with 82 games as a leadoff hitter than Jimmy Rollins this year. Always gives you that power threat from the top of the batting order. Victorino with 18 home runs this season, 12 of them as a leadoff hitter.
These guys for Charlie Manuel are like a Rubik's Cube. I mean, you could bat them just about anywhere in the order. You could just keep turning it, twisting it, move them around. And with all the injuries they had, that's pretty much what he had to do.
Well, Brown was leaning there.
Yeah.
Arroyo, Joe mentioned, has a great move. He manages the running game so well. Something that he has to do. And it's tough to get a good read on Bronson Arroyo, even though Davey Lopes, the Phillies first base coach, would love to see some action at some point. The Phillies are down 4-0. Another throw.
That was his A move there. Quick feet, quick turn. And Victorino takes a walk. Hannigan threw out 30% of base stealers.
Well, it just doesn't seem like a running moment here. That's why it was surprising that Brown was leaning and looking like he wanted to run a moment ago. On the ground to Phillips, and he takes it off the chest. Everybody's safe. Brandon Phillips went to the ground, and it bounced up and hit him in the chest. And the Phillies with a couple of base runners now in the 5th inning.
It's almost like he wanted to make sure this ball didn't get through, Brian. I'm not sure that he really needed to go to the turf, but maybe it was a good thing he did because the ball did come up and hit him in the chest. And a good thing that Dominic Brown picked up Sam Perlazzo, the third base coach, or he might have gotten picked off at second.
Well, a couple of errors by Chase Utley in the second inning led to a Cincinnati run. Now an error by Phillips. A rare error. Gives Polanco a shot. Polanco hit one right on the nose his last time up. He lined out to left. He is 0 for 2.
And he's looking to atone for his last postseason appearance with the Tigers in the World Series, where he went 0 for 17 a few years ago, which is hard to imagine for this guy.
Into the postseason with the Tigers, the Cardinals, and now the Phillies. Well, he had a monster postseason in 2006, did Polanco, with Detroit. Was the 06 ALCS MVP.
That didn't translate to the World Series, though. Somehow he got cold.
And a bouncer to roll, and he bobbles. A throw to first. Dug out by Votto, not in time. And two of the most sure-handed Cincinnati infielders boot a couple here in the fifth inning. The bases are loaded for the Phillies.
Arroyo getting what he wanted, and that were some ground balls. This one comes up on Scott Rowland. Made a quick throw, but almost a horrible throw down the line, saved by Votto. Still 2 out, but now Utley's up and Dusty Baker out to give Arroyo a breather.
Well, you're talking about the best defensive team in the National League this year. The fewest errors, tied with the Padres, the Reds, 72 errors. And a franchise record for best fielding percentage, a .988 fielding percentage. Rowland, a 7-time Gold Glove Award winner, committed just 8 errors all season. And 2 of the premier gloves in the league at their positions, with a couple of boots in this fifth inning. The bases are loaded, and here comes the Tiger under the plate in Chase Utley.
Dangerous guy to have up there because he's such a clutch hitter. But this year, despite the fact that hitters only batted .219 against Arroyo with runners in scoring position, that's outstanding. With the bases loaded, they were 7 for 13.
Inning started with a hit by Ibanez. 2 gone. And the Phillies have just the man they want at the plate. Boy, that didn't miss by much.
They went back to the spot where they got him to take a called third strike in the 4th, but didn't get the call. This is a mess not of Arroyo's making, but one that he's going to have to get out of.
Well, Chase Utley with 65 RBIs this year, the lowest total since '04. But he missed significant time this season, from late June to mid-August after thumb surgery.
Big opportunity for the Phillies right here, thanks to the 2 errors.
And Utley takes a strike.
How about it? 2-0 curveball, 73 miles an hour. Again, 7 for 13 with the bases loaded in the regular season. Opponents against Bronson Arroyo, but that was a great pitch.
When you talk about pitching backwards, that's what you mean. A breaking ball and a fastball count. 25 pitches in the inning. And that one's drilled into right field. That's going to get down, a base hit. 1 run is in. Victorino will score. Chase Utley drives in 2. And the Phillies have cut the deficit in half. 4-2 Cincinnati.
This Phillies team with their lineup, and that was a changeup that looked like Utley was waiting on. You just can't give them 4 outs an inning. You certainly can't give them 5 outs an inning because they'll make you pay.
Utley delivers in a big spot, and this crowd is revved up again. 2 on, 2 out. Here's Ryan Howard.
The Reds will play their shift, although not as severe here, but they will put Janisch on the first base side of second, move Phillips over toward the hole to try to plug that up with Votto holding Utley on. Polanco at third can take a huge lead. He can come halfway down the line if he wants.
And the oohs and ahs from the crowd. A big cut by Howard out in front. Ball and a strike on the big slugger. And a big year producing runs in the postseason last year. Ryan Howard in 15 playoff games drove in 17 runs. And his first hit of this postseason in the second. He was 0 for 4 yesterday. A single and a walk tonight against Arroyo.
87 pitches for Arroyo now, and Logan Ondrusek, who we saw 2 nights ago, has begun to loosen up in the Cincinnati pen. But all this the result of a couple of errors, either one of which, if they make the play, Arroyo's out of the inning.
And a strike to Howard.
Another outstanding changeup. There's Ondrusek getting ready.
Big pitch coming up. Arroyo has Howard down to the count. 1-2. And a swing and a miss. Down he goes. A foul tip into the mid of Hannigan. Arroyo gets out of it. A couple of errors and a couple of runs. 4-2. The Reds still lead. It's big, it's orange, it requires lots of hot air. It's the Conan blimp. Today's aerial coverage is made possible by AT&T, and the Conan show premieres November 8th right here on TBS.
Looking forward to it.
Now Roy Oswalt is out, 5 innings. J.C. Romero is in. Oswalt giving up 4 runs, 3 of them earned, and he faces Lance Nix, shatters his bat, 1 away. Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia. Great to have you with us tonight on a beautiful Friday for baseball. Brian Anderson with Joe Simpson, David Aldridge. And the Reds coming out banging early. Brandon Phillips with a leadoff home run in the first inning. His first career leadoff home run. Gave the Reds the early lead. Cincinnati got a run on a couple of errors in the second. Jay Bruce with a homer in the fourth. And they added one in the fifth. But the Phillies scoring twice. An error by Phillips and an error by Rowland, leading 2 runs against Bronson Arroyo. As you see the numbers on J.C. Romero, he's a big part of their World Series run in 2008, their World Series title. He's in a little bit different role these days for Charlie Manuel.
Well, he started off slow this year. He got started late too because he was recovering from some surgery. And in fact, the last game of the season, he was pitching in Atlanta, and he actually walked off the mound with a back ailment, but he convinced Charlie Manuel that he was okay and ready to go, and he's in there tonight.
Jay Bruce, he homered to lead off the 4th inning, hit a rocket out of here into the deep reaches of the right field bleachers. Well, if you tell the Reds that they're going to have a 4-2 lead against Oswalt as they go to the 6th inning, they probably would have taken it. And give a lot of credit to Bronson Arroyo. He struck out Ryan Howard with 2 on, working around the 2 errors. Bruce, little soft liner out to Polanco. 2 up, 2 down for J.C. Romero in the 6th inning.
He's kind of a left-handed specialist, and he got both the left-handers, and now here comes Charlie Manuel.
So the Philly skipper will make the change here with Drew Stubbs, a right-handed batter, coming up, and with a fresh bullpen after Halliday's no-hitter. It'll be a battle of the bullpens, you figure, tonight. 4-2 Cincinnati, 2 outs. We'll be back in just a moment. Visit TBS Hot Corner at MLB.com/TBS Hot Corner to watch live video companion coverage of every MLB postseason game. A pitching change for Charlie Manuel and the Phillies. Nobody on. J.C. Romero retires the 2 lefties, Nixon, Bruce. And now it's Chad Durbin to face Drew Stubbs with 2 away in the 6th.
Chad Durbin only allowed a 195 batting average against him by right-handed hitters, so he'll be asked to get Stubbs here. Throws pretty hard. Fastball in the low 90s. Can sink it. Likes to cut it. His out pitch is his slider. He's got a curveball too, but he only really just shows that to you. It's mostly sinker slider.
Now Charlie Manuel carrying 7 relievers. It's a 10-man pitching staff, but at least in the first round, by virtue of the best record in the major leagues, the Phillies chose the 8-day format, which allows Manuel to go with the 3-man starting rotation, which gives him plenty of options in that bullpen. And I'm sure he'll be playing matchup the rest of this game. Drew Stubbs with 2 away. Stubbs walked in the 2nd, struck out in the 4th. Well, Roy Oswalt finishes with 5 innings, 4 runs, 3 earned. He struck out 5. And Joe, excluding a start on September 28th after the Phillies had clinched, this was Oswalt's shortest start since July 24th when he was a member of the Astros. When he went only 5 innings, gave up 6 runs against these same Reds.
Yeah. Well, one thing that this pitching change does is give Bronson Arroyo a little time to recover from that 30-pitch inning too. The Reds bullpen is quiet again, so we expect to see him back out there in the bottom of the 6th against Worth, Rollins, and Ibanez.
Big cut by Stubbs. Stubbs played his college ball at the University of Texas. And a #1 pick for Cincinnati. Matter of fact, he and Jay Bruce, back-to-back first-rounders starting in this postseason. And a very fast runner is aboard with 2 away in the 6th inning. That's the last guy you want to walk in a spot like this.
30 stolen bases, only caught 6 times. But Ruiz, very good too at throwing out base stealers. If the pitcher gives him a chance, he's threw out 39% of base stealers this year. See if Dusty Baker cuts Stubbs loose over there.
And a good move and an out at first base.
He got caught leaning, and then his foot went out from under him. He was a dead duck.
A big out for Durbin. Stubbs usually turns walks into doubles. He turns it into an out to end the inning in the 6th.
The MLB Division Series on TBS is brought to you by Verizon. The signal is yours. Wield it to transmit anything you want. Verizon. And by Prudential, the rock you can rely on to meet today's financial challenges.
Cincinnati 4, Philadelphia 2. Game 2 of the National League Division Series. First of a doubleheader of playoff baseball on TBS today, as Bronson Arroyo returns to the mound, facing Jason Word to lead off this 6th inning.
This has been Arroyo's game. He has had control of the Phillies hitters all night, but 2 errors cost him 2 unearned runs last inning. He did get some rest in there between innings, or during the top half of this inning, and this is a big inning for him to go back out and reestablish his control of these hitters again.
Now Word singled against Arroyo in the 4th inning, went to the opposite field with a single. Arroyo falling behind a bit more, especially in that 5th inning, and a long inning for Arroyo to get through it. Those 2 errors leading to a couple of runs. Chase Utley had the big hit in that 5th inning. He drove it a pair with a single, as Word takes a strike. Well, Dusty Baker will not be shy about going to his bullpen quickly, and you figure it might be 1 base runner against Arroyo in this 6th inning. A well-armed bullpen for Dusty Baker, and Cincinnati's strength this season.
Veteran Arthur Rhodes begins to play a little catch. Raul Ibanez due up 3rd this inning.
But the switch hitter Rollins next, 3-2, and Worth fouls it away.
He's just done a fabulous job tonight when he's been behind in the count of not giving these Phillies hitters a good fastball to hit. He's mixed in change-ups on 3 and 2 counts. That was a breaking ball, and they haven't been able to square up anything because of that.
Another 3-2, and he tied him up. He just got a piece, did Worth. Got a report from the Cincinnati clubhouse. Orlando Cabrera, he left this game with an injury, aggravated an injury to his left side, the same injury that put him on the disabled list for a month a couple of innings ago. So Cabrera out for the game. Giannis, the shortstop. Bronson Arroyo has been in the postseason fire before with the Boston Red Sox. He was part of that championship team, that great comeback in 2004. As he walks Worth. So the fire gets a little hotter here in Philadelphia. Now the tying run will come up again. And decision time for Dusty Baker. Rollins, a switch hitter. The lefty Ibanez is on deck. We'll see which side Dusty Baker would rather Rollins hit from.
Well, there's quite a difference in his numbers. 297 right-handed average this year, 218 left-handed. But be careful on the first pitch here.
Jimmy Rollins bounced into a key double play in the 4th inning. And he takes strike 1.
Boy, he has had that working, hadn't he? That change-up that he's throwing inside, turning it over a little bit, having it drop in there. Chase Utley, the only guy that's really looked for it and done anything with it.
That was the same pitch he struck out Utley on in the 4th. Utley made him pay with a 2 RBI single last inning. In the 4th inning, Rollins was at the plate with 2 on and just 1 out. And Arroyo, who has gotten few ground ball outs tonight, got the ground ball out he was looking for in a 4-6-3 double play. It was on that play that Cabrera was injured. Got Rhodes, the lefty. He's ready if needed. Logan Ondrusek, the tall right-hander, and the sinker ball specialist. Jimmy Rollins right on top of the plate. And Arroyo just missed. Puts the count in Rollins' favor.
Like a good one there.
There's such a pivotal count. The 1-1 pitch goes to 2-1. The hitter is in favor. If it goes to 1-2, the pitcher can open up his repertoire a little bit. Tying run at the plate. And a strike. A late call from Bruce Dreckman.
Jimmy Rollins didn't hear that. He didn't hear the strike call. He heard the fan reaction. And that's where he snapped around.
Rollins thought it was high.
When Rollins was doubled up his last time up, I think it was some more evidence that he's not running anywhere near 100%. That was a slow developing double play, and they still got him.
Just returned the final week of the season. It was a calf injury early that set Jimmy Rollins back. He missed most of September with the hamstring injury. Missed 15 games. As he lifts one, shallow center, back is Phillips. And that's a big out for Bronson Arroyo. And Rollins pops up. Ward still at first, now one away, and Ibanez coming up.
Rollins, Victorino, Utley all stand right on top of the plate, and yet he continues to go back in there and challenge them inside, especially with off-speed pitches. And with the exception of the one to Utley, they've been very effective tonight.
Well, Dusty Baker getting a big performance from Bronson Arroyo, and he will check on his starter. Arthur Rhodes is ready in the bullpen. And Dusty Baker's going to make the call. So Bronson Arroyo goes 5 1/3. He leaves with the lead. And Baker is going to give the ball to his 40-year-old left-hander Arthur Rhodes to face Raul Ibanez. We'll take a break. Well, Arthur Rhodes will take the ball for the Reds. Tonight's National League Division Series coverage on TBS presented by BlackBerry. And Philadelphia with the tying run coming up. Bronson Arroyo goes 5 1/3 tonight. And he is now out of this game, but he pitched well. He managed to get around a couple of errors in the 5th inning and a big strikeout of Ryan Howard, but he'll take an exit as Arthur Rhodes comes in to try to clean up the inning for Cincinnati in the 6th.
Dusty Baker ought to be very proud of Bronson Arroyo, and I'm sure he is. Made some good pitches at key times in the ball game when he did have some runners on base, and were it not for the errors, he'd be dealing a shutout right now.
And the ageless Arthur Rhodes. He has appeared in 20 postseason games in his career, but it's his first postseason appearance since 2001 when he was a member of the Seattle Mariners.
Still throws hard. His fastball still 90 to 93. He'll throw a slider to the lefties, and he will elevate his fastball to try to get you to chase that. But he can still throw hard. Ibanez, though, has had good luck against him. 4 for 12.
And Ibanez has a hit tonight. He singled his last time up. David Aldridge pointed out the success of the bottom of the Phillies batting order is a big part of their offense this season and in their postseasons the last 3 years. Ibanez, first pitch, hacking. Scott Rowland will give it a look, and that ends up in the seats, a foul ball.
Arthur Rhodes, though, Brian's been battling a foot injury that hasn't kept him out of the rotation out of the bullpen for Dusty Baker, but it's been very painful and has made his availability a little bit spotty. It's getting better, He's battling some plantar fasciitis that has really been troubling to Arthur Rhodes at the age of 40.
It's on his left foot. It is his push foot. Jason Worth at first. And Ibanez fouls another one away. Rhodes mostly throws fastballs and still has a good fastball. Matter of fact, earlier this season during the regular year, he had a long string of scoreless innings. Had a scoreless streak of 30 innings from mid-April till the end of June. If you're wondering if he had anything left in the tank.
He does.
Strike called as Ibanez takes one on the outside corner as Arthur Rhodes rings up Raul Ibanez for the second out.
Right at the target for Ryan Hannigan, too. Just a perfect pitch. Not a whole lot Ibanez could do with that, even if he'd been hacking at it.
Now Rhodes typically is a late inning reliever as Brian Price is on his way out. Perhaps he spotted something from Arthur Rhodes. The Reds talk about the injury with Arthur Rhodes. When he pushes off, he doesn't feel it as he lets the pitch go. It just grabs him as he lands. Even though it's his push foot, it's that reaction as that foot springs back, and they watch how he coils after his pitch. And you see that little jump he had.
He's trying to keep weight off of it, but he's got a tough task here. And a guy, you just mentioned that Rhodes throws primarily fastballs. This guy, as good a fastball hitter as the Phillies have in Carlos Ruiz.
2 outs now. There was a leadoff walk. Jason Worth, he's still at first. And that one misses upstairs. Ruiz, he walked in the third inning. Bronson Arroyo finally retired Ruiz his last time up with a fly ball to the outfield. That snapped a long streak for Ruiz as well. 22 straight postseason games on base as he takes a strike from Rhodes.
You got a sore foot. The last thing you really want to do is to have to throw over and hold runners. You only have so many pitches left in your arm because of the injury, where you feel good anyway, and he doesn't want to waste them.
Ball and a strike on Ruiz. And he takes a fastball strike from Rhodes. Ben Francisco in the on-deck circle. Pitcher spot due up next for the Phillies. Rhodes has been a late inning setup man for the Reds throughout his career until the injury and the emergence of Aroldis Chapman. You might remember Chapman, the flamethrower, was a starter in the minor leagues earlier this season, but once Rhodes was having the foot problems, they converted Chapman to a reliever in the minor leagues and then wanted to get him in position to use him in the postseason in a late setup role from the left side, which bumped Rhodes into an earlier spot. Work takes off. The throw to second, and the ball pops free. Ryan Hannigan, a great throwing arm, but Worth is in with a stolen base and a big steal at that. A runner in scoring position now for the Phillies in the 6th.
Reds might have had him if Phillips could have held on to the baseball. They wasted a pitch up high. Perfect pitch for Hannigan to throw on, but it looked like Worth's knee knocked the ball out of Phillips' glove. Had it kind of snow coned in the web.
Well, maybe Phillips a little late getting to the bag, taking it behind the runner. 2-2, runner at second. And he hit him. Ruiz drilled by a pitch. Rhodes trying to come back inside with a fastball, hits Ruiz with 2 strikes.
Looked like it got him on the knee. He had to come out of a game against Atlanta after he got hit in the left elbow. Oh boy, right on the kneecap. Could not get out of the way, and not sure if he's going to be able to stay in. Their backup catcher is Brian Schneider, the veteran. But Ruiz in a lot of pain.
Well, it probably feels as good now as it will all night. It'd be one thing if he was an infielder or an outfielder, but to get back in the squat position, we'll see. Right on the kneecap. Crowd cheering. Ruiz started to jog down the first baseline, which indicates he is all right to stay. You see the big wrap on his elbow from the final weekend of the year. He's also had some knee injuries he's been dealing with this season. But he is aboard, and he is the tying run, and now Dusty Baker is going to make a move.
He's going to make a double switch here after Francisco was announced. Drew Stubbs made the last out for the Reds. Jay Bruce before him. It's doubtful that Dusty would replace one of them, but he might replace Lance Nix, who led off the 6th inning.
Chris Heisey is on his way to the outfield for Nix. So there's your double switch. Arthur Rhodes is coming out, and Dusty Baker goes back to his bullpen. The Phillies again 2 on. They're threatening. Reds lead by 2. Now it's time for the Travelers mid-game recap. If you're just joining us, let's get you caught up here. The Phillies have the tying run aboard. The go-ahead run coming to the plate. A 4-2 Cincinnati lead. A couple of home runs tonight from the Reds. Brandon Phillips and Jay Bruce. Chase Utley drove in the 2 Phillies runs after 2 errors in the 5th inning by the Gold Glovers, Brandon Phillips and Scott Rowland. Arroyo 5 1/3. He is in line for the win. Oswalt on the hook for the loss, but a long way to go here tonight. And the double switch will be Chris Heisey in left field for Lance Nix, which means Heisey will hit second in the 7th inning. And on the pitch, the 6' 8" ground ball specialist Logan Ondrusek.
Ben Francisco, a very good pinch hitter for Charlie Manuel this year. 11 pinch hits, 7 RBIs. He likes the fastball in the inner half. Ondrusek likes to throw the cutter middle half away.
And there is that breaking ball from Ondrusek. Strike 1.
He is very pull conscious, is Francisco. So on that cutter, they may get him to roll over the top of it. Francisco, though, knows if they make a mistake, he's got a lot of pop.
It was Jason Worth who led this inning off with a walk. In the 6 innings tonight, Philadelphia has had their leadoff hitter aboard on 4 occasions. But none of those leadoff base runners have scored at this point. 2 on, 2 out. And Francisco is drilled in the head. Took a shot to the helmet, and thankfully he's on his feet here. A very scary pitch from Logan Ondrusek.
Hopefully the way he turned away from the pitch, it was mostly a glancing blow, but a deep sigh by Ben Francisco there. Let's take a look.
Well,
got the bill of the helmet.
Yeah, he got lucky. That is a fortunate pitch for Francisco. That would hit the brim of his batting helmet.
At 91.
Well, the crowd booing, but no way Andrusek wants to hit Francisco, the pinch hitter. Now he has to deal with Shane Victorino. Top of the order for the Phillies. The bases are now loaded. Back-to-back hit batters. Victorino with a couple of hits yesterday, or rather Wednesday. Drove in 2 runs. He reached on an error in the 5th inning. 2-0.
Andrusek does not have the command that Bronson Arroyo had when he was trying to pitch out of a bases loaded jam. He also loses the ability to throw that slider or that cutter away from right-handed hitters with Victorino up there left-handed. A little harder to hit it to the back door.
Andrusek, an inning and 2/3 of scoreless baseball on Wednesday. The Reds bullpen was impressive in the middle of the Halladay no-hitter. A rookie in his first postseason in a hot spot in Philadelphia in the 6th. Three balls and a strike. Nowhere to put him.
Philadelphia Phillies, the defending National League champions for the last couple of years, they are a team that takes advantage of every mistake you make and every gift you give them. They're relentless.
And he misses. Ball 4. A bases loaded walk. Victorino an RBI the easy way, and the Phillies are within a run.
A run without benefit of a hit. 2 walks, 2 hit batsmen.
The Reds had 2 outs and a runner at first. Rhodes hit Ruiz with a 2-strike pitch. Then Francisco drilled by Andrusek, and now a walk. And here comes Placido Polanco.
I think the crowd's back in it.
Big bender in there for a strike. Keep in mind, outfielders will tell you it becomes very tough to read fly balls when these white towels are going with the Phillies at the plate.
Yeah, it's hard to get a good jump.
Two outs, bases loaded. Polanco down in the count. That's what the outfielder sees.
Best thing possible. Gotten ahead in the count. Slow curve ball and doubled up with it there, and Polanco was way out in front of it. His numbers with the bases loaded, a career .303 average. And behind in the count, you see him choke up on the bat a little bit. He'll be looking to try to just put the ball in play and hit it where it's pitched.
And a 2-strike pitch. The roller to Roland in time, and that is a big out for Andrusik. The Phillies do get a run, but a victory for the Reds. They are out of the inning and they still lead. We head to the 7th in Philadelphia. Well, Joe, if the Reds go on to win this game, Logan Andrusik will have gotten the biggest out at this point, with the bases loaded, retiring Placido Polanco. A run does score for Philadelphia, but impressive that the rookie can come in a spot like this, in an environment like this, and make a big pitch to keep the Reds in the lead. Ryan Hannigan will lead off.
Jose Contreras, another ageless one, in to pitch for Charlie Manuel. Had a great year, 67 appearances, 6-4 with a .334. Throws hard, has a good split finger pitch. Also throws a slider, likes to use the slider or cutter to left-handed hitters.
Now Contreras, the third out of Charlie Manuel's bullpen. Roy Oswald went 5 tonight. Gave up 5 hits, 4 runs, 3 earned. Reds had a 4-0 lead after 4.5.
Well, it's down to a battle of bullpens now, Brian, and when you compare the two, with all due respect to the Phillies, Ryan Madsen and Brad Lidge, who were good at the end of the year for the Phillies, the Reds bullpen is deeper and throws harder and has been better. We'll see if that's the way it plays out.
Now, there'll be an interesting call for Dusty Baker on who he goes with for the 7th. And it could be Andrusik, who got the final out of the 6th inning. And by the way, the hit by pitch to Ben Francisco, the first time he's hit a batter all year. And then he walked Victorino with the bases loaded. Certainly looks like he is going back into the game, the way he's sitting there with a towel on his arm. Dusty Baker told us Wednesday that he likes to use Aroldis Chapman to start an inning, and the later he can use him, the better. It's kind of evolved into the setup man for the Cincinnati Reds, and when he pitches here, that will be something to see.
Well, I'm a little surprised that he's
105-mile-an-hour fastball.
I'm a little surprised he's not warming up, Brian, because Utley and Howard are leading off the 7th.
And a bouncing ball out to Chase Utley. And again retired.
The other part of it is, I know they had a day off yesterday, and that helps, but Andrusik threw an inning and 2/3 on Wednesday.
Well, there is Chapman getting loose. So the Cuban-born Chapman, one of his heroes growing up was Jose Contreras. And they might both get the 7th inning here tonight.
This is Heisey, who came in the double switch. He had a good year in part-time play. Kind of a 4th outfielder for Dusty Baker. 8 homers, 21 RBIs. Had 4 pinch hit homers.
Another rookie for Cincinnati. The Reds had 10 players this year make their major league debuts, and Heisey one of them.
He's got good speed, good outfielder.
Cut and a miss, and a strikeout for Jose Contreras. 2 up, 2 down in the 7th inning for the Philadelphia right-hander.
like a cutter, but it kind of backed up a little bit. Didn't really do much. What a night for Brandon Phillips.
Now, Phillips is a triple away from the cycle. Had a leadoff home run tonight. And this crowd was loud to start this game with Oswald on the mound, and Phillips put them in their seats quickly with that home run in the first. Popped him up this time. Utley's got it. Contreras 3 up, 3 down. We are headed to the Philadelphia 7th. The Reds 4, Philadelphia 3. Stretch time at Citizens Bank Park. TBS this November. Welcome to college for these freshmen. The rush is on. Don't miss the series premiere of Glory Days, November 16th at 10 o'clock 9 Eastern only on TBS. 4-3 Cincinnati. And outside of Steven Strasburg, the one pitcher everybody wanted to see make his major league debut this year was this man, Aroldis Chapman. And he made his debut. At the end of the month, he was put on the big league roster so he would be eligible for the postseason. And a man who has hit 105 miles per hour with his fastball is making his postseason debut here tonight in the 7th inning.
And only 5 walks, Brian. That's the thing I think that stands out most for me, is that as hard as he throws, and especially his first tour through the big leagues, he's had very good control. I know it's only 13 innings, but the guy's throwing this hard and striking out well over 1 per inning. You would expect maybe a few more free passes.
Made his major league debut on the 31st of August, and with more on the hard-throwing Cuban, we send it down to David Aldridge.
Well, Brian, everybody wants to see what this guy can do in the postseason. Jimmy Rollins told me the other day that he's been trying to prepare for this by setting the pitching machine 20 feet away so you can get some sense of what it's like to have 105 miles an hour come at you at less than 60 feet 6 inches. Rollins said he's always been used to pitching or hitting against guys who throw 98, 99, sometimes even 100, and that he's going to dig in against this guy. But he acknowledged that he just doesn't know what it's going to be like until he steps in the box and sees what this guy's got.
And as we know, these guys, these left-handed hitters, especially for the Phillies, like to crowd the plate. He's 6'4", 185 pounds, long arms, big hands, and can bring it. And a lot of times people, Brian, will say, well, is there really that much difference between 90 and 95? Yes, there's a lot of difference. And the difference between 95 and 105, well, we might be about to find out.
So Aroldis Chapman ready to work against the Phillies, and he will earn it here if he gets through the 7th. Chase Utley to lead off. Never been afraid of a fastball in his career. Then Ryan Howard, and then Jason Worth. Dusty Baker said he likes to start an inning with Chapman, does not want to put him in a game with runners on base. At least not yet. He is scheduled to be a starting pitcher next year, but the Reds are trying to use Chapman much like the Rays used David Price 2 seasons ago, and what we saw in Francisco Rodriguez with the Angels in 2002.
Chase Utley, one of the quickest bats in baseball. This will be a real good test here.
4-3 Reds. And his first pitch, 100 miles an hour. And you'll hear that the rest of this inning as long as he's in there. Oohs and ahs. And that is the difference maker for Chapman, the slider.
Yeah, that's 90 miles an hour. And for these hitters who are seeing him for the first time, I mean, you've got to get some sense of timing by looking at the first one just to see what it's like coming out of his hand. But that only put Utley in the hole.
0-2 pitch. Whoa. And that hit him. That got a piece of Utley. the third hit batter for the Reds bullpen in the last 2 innings. And another leadoff base runner for Philadelphia.
At 102 miles an hour. He got hit by pitches 27 times in 08. And he immediately looked at Bruce Dreckman, claiming it hit him. I don't think that was a Derek Jeter model there. I think it missed the knob of the bat.
Oh, and Utley very fortunate as well in his reaction at first base. I think the reality starting to set in, Joe, of what he just avoided.
Yeah. But it came on an 0-2 pitch.
And now Howard. This is the matchup baseball fans have been dying to see right here. Chapman against Howard. Power against power. And a cut and a miss, 100 miles per hour.
Ryan Howard doesn't like the ball in. He likes the ball out away from him. So if they try to pitch him away, even with that good heater, he's liable to catch up.
By him. 99. Took a little off, Joe.
Yep.
0-2 the count on Howard.
It's fun to watch, though.
And another one. So he dials it up to 101. And Ryan Howard is gone on strikes.
Had a good hack at it, but foul tipped it into the glove of Hannigan. Was a little late. Now a right-hander and a switch hitter.
It'll be Jason Worth. Chapman was the big free agent prize this offseason after defecting from Cuba. He was available to all clubs, and it was a bit of a surprise that Walt Jocketty and the Reds were the ones who ended up with Chapman, but they were willing to go the 6 years.
Worth just asked Ed Rapuano to move over on the third base side of the mound so they could get a better look at the ball coming out of Chapman's hand. Rapuano had been over on the first base side of the mound to set up for any potential play at second base.
Oh, and 1 to count on Worth. Inside. Count evens at a ball and a strike.
You've almost got to get it started early, as the hitters would call it. You got to cheat a little bit to get on his fastball. Jason Worth has a bit of a long swing and likes the ball out away from him so he can extend those long arms.
He zips one in on the corner. 1-2 the count. Chapman made his major league debut against the Milwaukee Brewers. I was there for that game, his first inning, with light bulbs popping everywhere at Great American Ballpark. He retired the side in order. Took him just 8 pitches. And while his fastball was impressive, it was the slider that was the trick pitch that got him through it. Fouls it off his foot. There's a great example of what hitters will say. You got to cheat a little, not cheat outside the rule book, but start the bat head early to try to get around on Chapman.
Got to try and ambush it. And I'd say what I'm impressed with already, Brian, is his balance. I mean, for a guy to generate that kind of velocity, you'd figure that he has to practically fall off the mound and use every ounce of his 185 pounds to get it up there. But he's not. He's got good mechanics and some kind of life in that arm.
Did not allow a home run in the big leagues this year in a month's worth of pitching. Gave up 7 in the minor leagues this season in over 95 innings. And that one just missed. I'll say this, Chapman does not have, believe it or not, does not have his A fastball right now. He has been consistently 103, 104. He had the 105-mile-an-hour pitch in San Diego. On the ground, Roland, nice scoop to second, and it is not in time. Utley is safe. A great pickup by Scott Rowland, but Utley hustling to the bag beats the throw. Now remember, Worth had just moved Ed Rapuano to that side of the bag. Dusty Baker gets the explanation. 2 on for the Phillies in this 7th inning with just 1 away. Close.
Very close. Rapuano actually had a better angle on it from where he was on this side. Utley went in kind of funny. He didn't go straight in. He almost went in like with a roadblock type of slide.
Utley was thinking about breaking up a double play. Not sure his foot got to the bag. It did not look that way from the replay. But safe is the call. 2 on.
I think he got in there. I think it was the right call. Utley's slide made it a lot closer than it needed to be.
Here's Jimmy Rollins now. Tying run at second base. In the air, right center field. Bruce battling with the lights. He missed it. And it's going to go all the way to the track. Utley around third. And here he comes. He will score. Here comes Worth. And he scores. The Phillies have taken the lead.
He lost this in the lights, Brian. Soft line drive. It wasn't hit that deep, but he lost it completely in the lights. He recovered. Utley was going to score to tie it. He was going to score. But then on the relay, Brandon Phillips dropped the relay. And Sam Perlazzo never hesitated to send Worth home. And the Phillies get 2.
It did not look like Utley touched third base. Do the Reds know that? Will they appeal? After the pitch, it doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter as Ibanez swings and misses. Utley was a long way from third base as he rounded the bag. Check it out.
Wow, if he did, it was just with the inside of the ball of his foot.
Goes as an error on Bruce. There was also an error on Phillips. 2 errors gives the Phillies the lead. Ibanez into right field, a base hit. They will hold Rollins, who stopped on the fly ball. And with all of that velocity and that great slider and the lefty-lefty matchup, Ibanez delivers a single to right. How about that?
Outstanding fastball hitter. It's a 1-run game. And Dusty Baker, who brought him in to face the lefties, looks like he might make a change right here. Here's that relay from Stubbs. Stubbs got to this quickly and got it to Brandon Phillips in good fashion. But Brandon, turning to make a throw to the plate, dropped it, and that's what allowed Worth to come across with the go-ahead run. Lost in the lights.
Goes as an error, an E9. The E4 allows Worth to score. Phillips with 2 errors in this game. The Reds, the best defensive team in the National League this year, committing 4 errors tonight. So that was just a pep talk from Dusty Baker. An ugly 3rd column.
And that 4-run lead they had going to the bottom of the 5th inning is all gone.
And now Chapman will match up with one of the best fastball hitters in baseball, Carlos Ruiz. First and third.
Dusty Baker talks about Ruiz in very glowing ways, saying that the harder you throw, the better Carlos likes it.
Ruiz was hit by a pitch. His last time up, took one off the knee. Phillies got a run in the 6th to cut it within a run. Now 2 here in the 7th inning.
You were talking about him not having his best fastball, perhaps, Brian, compared to what you've seen him throw. He didn't warm up very long before he came in tonight. He didn't get up until there was already 1 out in the top of the inning. But he certainly had time to get loose out there now.
Well, that's a good point. No balls, 2 strikes on Ruiz. And a ground ball. This is Giannis. He goes to second for 1. They cannot turn it. Another run scores for the Phillies. And it is 6-4. Ruiz credited with a run batted in on a fielder's choice.
Dusty Baker elected to keep his infield back for the chance to get a double play on the catcher. But the ball was hitting the hole and too far for Giannis to go to get a double play started. Again, you give the Phillies extra outs, and without fail, it seems they always take advantage.
Mike Sweeney will pinch hit. This is his first playoff appearance. Sweeney coming to the Phillies from the Mariners. Mostly used as a pinch hitter, veteran presence on the bench. 2 outs in the inning. And it's 2-0 on Sweeney. Joe, whether it be the lights, whether it be the white towels, this is the 3rd consecutive year that we have seen outfield miscues against the Phillies in the divisional series. It was Mike Cameron of the Brewers in 08. Last year it was Carlos Gonzalez of the Colorado Rockies. Jay Bruce wears that label in 2010. As Sweeney turns one around, that is going to fall, a base hit. The Phillies keep it going against the Cuban Missile.
Fought off a fastball and dumped it into shallow left field. Chapman had only given up 9 hits in 13 innings in the big leagues. He's given up 3 hits this inning.
Well, Hannigan being ordered to the mound from the Reds dugout. Perhaps trying to give the bullpen a little more time to loosen up, and Dusty Baker is going to have to make a change here. And he goes to the home plate umpire for a double switch. What an inning. The Phillies scoring 3 runs in the 7th. A couple of costly errors by Cincinnati as Nick Massett will be next on the line for Cincinnati, and not the kind of debut that Aroldis Chapman was looking for. Pitching change. We take a break. The much anticipated postseason debut of Aroldis Chapman. And he is out of this game. Chapman giving up 3 runs at this point, and the key play, the fly ball that was either lost in the lights or in the white towels. 2 runs scoring with 2 defensive errors by the Reds.
Just a crusher, but it's not the only error of the night. 2 errors made on the play, 4 tonight for the National League's best defensive ball club. At least in terms of stats, they were tied with San Diego for fewest errors of the year. Nick Massett, a hard thrower, comes in. He's in the mid-90s. Got a cutter and an overhand curveball and a split finger pitch. But what a turnaround.
Reds had a 1-run lead when this inning started. Had their big lefty on the mound, their prize prospect. He has been chased. Now Massett is on. 3 runs are in for the Phillies, 2 on with 2 away. And Victorino shoots one over to Phillips. Side retired, but they roar in Philadelphia. A 3 spot. And the Phillies a 6-4 lead. A 3-run bottom of the 7th for Philadelphia, and a 6-4 lead as we go to the 8th. And after the masterpiece that was Wednesday's game from Roy Halladay, this one has been an ugly one by baseball standards. 3 hit batters, 6 combined errors. The Phillies with the lead, and they'll turn it over to Ryan Madson here in the 8th inning. Paul Janisch leads off, and Janisch, like a shot, it bounced. Rollins still gets the out. Showed it to the umpire. He didn't buy it, but a strong enough arm to get Janisch for out number 1 on the first pitch from Madson.
Good call by Ed Rapuano. That was a short hop. Good try by Rollins. Ryan Madson has really pitched well for the Phillies in the second half of the season. More appearances than anybody in baseball after the All-Star break. He was in 35 of the Phillies' last 58 games and had a 1.07 ERA over that stretch. Good fastball, sinking action in the low 90s, and has a very good changeup.
Now Votto, big cut and a miss. And nothing wrong with Madson's fastball either.
No, that was 95. That's up there.
Votto a sacrifice fly in the 5th. Driving in his first postseason run. Well, how do the Reds come off the deck here? They had a 4-0 lead in this game. They had chased Roy Oswalt. They had a lead with their bullpen ready to roll. And a lot of breakdowns defensively for Cincinnati, and Philadelphia took advantage.
There's the changeup, but Madson's ready tonight and amped up in the postseason. And he's throwing 94, 95. That's 2 or 3 miles an hour better than normal.
You know, as managers map out the road to victory for Charlie Manuel, it's the last 2 in his bullpen as Votto turns one around. That is going to get down a base hit. Over to cut it off is Worth. And the Reds come up with a single with 1 away.
Votto's first hit in the division series, and it was a bell-tie pitch that he was able to turn on, but it does bring the potential tying run to the plate.
So Scott Rowland representing the tying run. Rowland is 0 for 6 so far in this NLDS with 4 strikeouts. Rowland was a big home run hitter this year, a bounce back season in the power department for him. Had a 20 homer season with 83 driven in, but most of his home runs came through the month of June. 17 of those home runs through June, only 3 home runs from July 1st to the end of the season.
And a lot of people attribute that to some of the back problems that he was battling the last month especially.
Oh, 2 to Roland. And they'll ask. No, he didn't. He checked his swing, says Sam Holbrook.
He got it out there near the front foot, but didn't look like he went near as far as Michael Young did.
Yeah, check swings have been in the headlines the last couple of days. Ball and 2 strikes. Lays off another one. Count evens at 2-2. His best fastball so far.
Not kidding you, boy. He's found another speed, another level for his fastball compared to his regular season numbers when you see him.
Got him. Matson goes up the ladder with a heater, and he strikes out Scott Rowland for the second out of the inning. We send it to Atlanta. Check in with Matt.
All right, Brian, time for a game break presented by Bank of America. Jason Hayward and the Braves are going to tie their series with the Giants up next here on TBS. If our game in Philly runs past 9:30, you'll see the beginning of Braves-Giants Game 2 over on TNT. Right now, back to the drama in Philly.
All right, thanks, Matt. Looking forward to the second half of the National League Division Series. The Braves and the Giants. 2 gone here in the 8th inning in Philadelphia. And it'll be Ramon Hernandez to come off the bench for Dusty Baker. And that gets by Ruiz, comes right back to him. And he fires, and it's late. Votto is in there. It'll be a wild pitch. And now a base hit. Could bring the Reds to within a run.
Well, that ball took a serious nosedive when it got to the plate, but you wonder too if Carlos Ruiz might be hampered a little bit after getting hit in the kneecap on the left knee earlier tonight by a pitch, if it's limited his mobility.
Ryan Matson free and easy tonight. He has a good fastball, but not the 96-mile-an-hour fastball he's showing tonight as he zips the corner. And it's a ball and 2 strikes on Hernandez. That one's pulled foul and out of play. We talked about the Reds catchers and how well they swing the bat this year combined. Hernandez hit .297 this season, and of the 2, he has the more power in that catching duo, but not much more. 7 homers for Hernandez with 48 runs batted in. Another guy who's been to the postseason before.
This Reds team, we told you a couple of nights ago, a very good come from behind team. They have 45 come from behind wins, 22 of them in their last at bat. But if they go to the ninth, they'd rather have to rally against Brad Lidge, only down 1 run instead of 2, if they can somehow get Joey Votto in.
Another 1-2 pitch. And he fights it off, Hernandez. There's Brad Lidge. He and Madsen, a big part of the late season surge for the Phillies as they chased down the Braves, ended up winning the division by 6. And the starters have been so good for Charlie Manuel. He has basically only needed those 2. In the air to center field. Victorino camped under it. That's the inning. Madsen gives up a hit to Votto, but that's it. Phillies still lead. We're headed to the bottom of the 8th. Now let's take a look at tonight's Nissan game summary. If you're just joining us, we are headed to the bottom of the 8th inning, and it's been 4 errors by the Cincinnati Reds, a team that is one of the best defensive teams in the National League this year, and it cost them 6-4, a 3-spot in the 7th inning. By the way, if you're wondering about errors in a game, the most postseason errors by one team, 6, done 4 times, but most recently in 1966.
If you want to call that recent.
So 6 errors in this game, 4 by the Reds, and all 3 of those runs for Philadelphia in the 7th inning unearned against Aroldis Chapman.
And I believe only 2 of the runs charged to Bronson Arroyo out of his 3. Only 1 was earned.
Nick Massett on the mound for Cincinnati. Polanco leads off. Polanco, Utley, and Howard. Dusty Baker and the Reds had it right where they wanted it. They had their strong bullpen lined up, ready to go with a lead. But the Phillies take advantage of the miscues. Not just the errors either. 3 hit batters. And while the Phillies only scored 1 run in that 6th inning, Joe, it allowed the Phillies to turn the lineup over, and it put some of their best hitters at the plate to face Chapman to start the 7th inning.
It's all going to boil down to the defense, O'Brien. The inability to make plays on the infield primarily. Of course, the ball in the lights that cost him a run. And then ultimately 2 runs when Phillips couldn't make the relay.
Scott Rowland has an error tonight. Brandon Phillips with a couple of errors in this game. And Jay Bruce, the error in right field. There were 2 errors on the same play. And that one's in there for a strike. Bronson Arroyo started for the Reds, went 5 1/3. Left with the lead. Forced into a no decision now. Into right. Bruce has this one for the out. Back to Atlanta, we check in with Matt Weiner. What's going on, Matt?
Hey, Brian, time for a game break presented by Bank of America. Bobby Cox and his Braves trying to tie up the Giants in moments in San Francisco because the game in Philly is running long. We're going to begin that game over on TNT. So again, if you're looking for Braves and Giants game 2, that's going to start on TNT. And when the Reds and Phillies wrap up, we'll send it back here to TBS.
All right, thanks, Matt. The Phillies 3 defensive outs away from a victory here tonight. A game 2 win to go up 2 games tonight in this series. Looking ahead, the Reds will have Jay Bruce, Drew Stubbs, and Ryan Hannigan. And they'll have to face Brad Lidge in the 9th.
And what an inning in the 7th for the Phillies that started with that fastball brushing the hand of Chase Utley to get it all started. 4 errors, 3 hit batsmen.
Now the Reds will have the dubious honor of holding a League Division Series record with the 4 errors. That's the way the game goes, isn't it? Here's a team that plays great defensive baseball all season, and yet they're the ones in the record books with the 4 E's. The combined 6 errors tonight is also an LDS record. League Division Series now in its 16th season. Utley hits it hard, a base hit right field. 2 hits tonight for Chase Utley, and another base runner for the Phillies.
Just watch how short and compact the swing is. Quick finish. He doesn't fall down. Great balance. Just went down and got the pitch. Uses his hands so well. And it looks like, you know, he swings so easy that, well, he's just a singles hitter. And of course, as you know by now about Chase Utley, he's far from that.
Ryan Howard digs in. Nick Massett and Francisco Cordero, the 2 go-to right-handers for Dusty Baker this year. As Utley takes off, and that one goes back to the screen. That'll be a stolen base for Utley. And now the Phillies with a runner in scoring position with Howard at the plate.
And almost a 4th hit batsman. Big crossover step, but he kind of raised up as he came up out of his crouch. And let's see how close this came to Ryan Howard. Almost got him in the foot. They're going to walk him.
Yeah, now with a base open at first, that's the play. Cincinnati will take their chances with Jason Worth and give themselves an opportunity to turn a double play to get out of this inning.
6 unanswered runs over the last 3 innings for the Phillies. The Reds can ill afford to give up any more and make it that much easier for Brad Lidge. Bottom half of the order due up for the Reds, starting with Jay Bruce.
So the steal takes the bat out of Howard's hands. The Phillies will take the base runners. They have plenty of lumber behind Ryan Howard, as Jason Worth will hit with 1 away. On Worth's batted ball in the 7th inning, it did not go as an error, but it was a key moment as Rowland made a pickup and tried to get the lead out at second base. Chase Utley was called safe. It was a close play, bang bang. But one of the many moments in that 7th inning that opened it up for Philadelphia.
Yeah, it was a play that Brandon Phillips argued with Ed Rapuano on. Dusty Baker came out and argued, but to no avail.
Now Worth a chance here to tack some runs on for the Phillies. He has not had a successful season with runners in scoring position. A 186 batting average this year. 4th lowest in Major League Baseball, with players who had at least 100 plate appearances. That's a bouncing ball. That's going to find a hole. A base hit. They're going to send the runner. Here comes Utley. The throw is late. Utley scores. And Worth shoves his nose at the regular season stats. He delivers a big hit with a runner in scoring position. And the Phillies are up 3.
A high pitch that he rolled over the top of, but he got it through the hole. And with Utley's speed, he scored without too much trouble here. All set up by his stolen base. Boy, a quick, sharp turn of the third base bag, too.
So Worth with his 2nd hit, been on base 4 times tonight. And Massett got the ground ball he wanted, but it found a hole. Well, the Phillies just do not let you up for air. Philadelphia held scoreless through the first 4 innings. All 7 of their runs coming unanswered since the bottom of the 5th.
Jason Worth trying to get Ryan Howard's attention, and did, and was giving him a sign to expand his lead. I think that came from Davey Lopes. They wanted him to get a little farther off the bag.
Rollins was at the plate for the big moment in the 7th. It was his line drive that Bruce lost in the lights and the white towels. Two on, still one out.
This is the big play in the game. Well, excuse me, this was Davey Lopes telling Worth that sign there. Hey, expand your lead, widen it out.
Strike from Bassett.
Good breaking ball there. The Reds bullpen has been so good, especially in the second half of the season, and when Chapman was at it and he pitched so well, kind of fortified everything for Dusty Baker at the end of the ball game. But errors tonight have foiled all of that.
The 2-2 to Rollins. Little bouncer, plenty of time. Oh, he doesn't know what to do with it. He finally recovers and throws it to first for the out. Got himself turned around, thought about two for a moment. Joe pointed out the big lead Worth had. Took him out of a double play opportunity, and that was almost disaster for the Reds. And a healthy Jimmy Rollins beats that out easily.
I think you're right. He even slowed up because he thought the throw might go to second base. But they got Jimmy with room to spare at first base. He is just not himself running.
Ended up being quite a throw, an athletic move from Bassett to get the out. So it leaves a base open at first here for Ibanez. And the second intentional walk of the inning, which will load the bases for Carlos Ruiz.
I know 2 of the walks are intentional tonight, this inning. But that's going to make 6 walks tonight, 6 base runners, extra base runners for the Phillies to go with their 8 hits and 4 errors. And playing here in this ballpark, that's just almost too much to ask to try to overcome all that. Add on to that 3-hit batsman.
Reds led 4-0. Phillies have scored the last 7. So Ruiz will bat with the bases loaded. Good play by Hernandez. Keeps Howard at third.
All of the hits for the Phillies tonight have been singles. This crowd didn't have anything to yell about for 4.5 innings. They do now.
On the ground to Giannis, and the out at second base. Inning is over. Last call for the Reds. The Phillies have added to it. It is now 7-4. Jay Bruce, Drew Stubbs, then a pinch hitter against Brad Lidge. We go to the 9th. Tonight's National League Division Series coverage on TBS is presented by BlackBerry. We are in the 9th inning from Philadelphia. The Reds had the lead early, gave it up late. A 3-run 7th, all 3 runs unearned. Errors the story in this one, really for both teams, but especially the Reds late. And now the Phillies turn it over to their hammer. Brad Lidge, the closer, facing Jay Bruce to start the 9th with Cincinnati down 3. Strike 1.
And like Ryan Madsen, he's done his best pitching in the second half of the season since August 1st. 17 for 18 in the save category with a 0.73 ERA. He's rediscovered his slider. He's got the downward tilt on it again, and he's throwing it for strikes.
Bruce homered for the Reds in the 4th. Reds were flying high early in this game with a 4-0 lead. Bronson Arroyo pitched well. Pitch count got up with the errors as the Phillies managed to come back and ultimately take the lead. 2-1 pitch to Bruce. Cut it a miss. That is a big pitch to have in your pocket when you're behind in the count for Brad Lidge.
And he can throw it for a strike now, whereas last year he had trouble doing that.
It's got to feel like old times again for Brad Lidge, trying to save a game that Roy Oswalt started. Teammates in Houston on that World Series team in '05. And Lidge walks Jay Bruce, the last thing he wanted to do with a 3-run lead. So now the Reds are a base runner away from bringing the tying run up. Here comes Drew Stubbs.
And they again 22 come from behind, or 45 come from behind wins, 22 in their last at bat. And all he did by walking that batter was give the Reds some hope, gets them a little fired up.
See Miguel Cairo in the on-deck circle.
It looks like a curveball. It breaks like a curveball, but it's Brad Lidge's slider that has that downward tilt. Watch the trajectory here as it goes down. That's his slider.
Ball and a strike on Stubbs. In the air, shallow left center. Victorino calls and catches. And one away in the 9th. Phillies are 2 outs away from going up 2 games to none in this best of 5.
Brian, there's no shame when a guy pitches like Roy Halladay did a couple of nights ago and throws a no-hitter. When he's that brilliant, again, the old adage of tipping your cap, you move on and you get ready for the next game. There's more embarrassment tonight for the Reds if they're not able to come back and win in losing the way that they're losing right now and the way they've played.
Had it in their hands. They had it set up the way the skipper wanted it, with a lead late and a fresh bullpen. The strength of the Reds this season. Now Cairo, the former Philly. Cairo has faced Lidge just a few times, but has some success. He's 3 for 7. His teammate last year. Not a power threat, a contact hitter. Pops this one up. 2 outs. You saw that note on Brad Lidge. He has converted 10 straight postseason opportunities. His last blown save was that home run by Pujols in Game 5 of the NLCS in '05. The next game, Oswalt came back and won it for the Astros to send them to the World Series. But even though he had his troubles a season ago, Lidge was outstanding in the postseason last year and is hoping to pick up his first save of the postseason in 2010. Reds down to their last out. Chris Heisey, the batter.
And Brad Lidge really owes a debt of gratitude to Charlie Manuel, who stuck with him as his closer too, through thick and thin. When things were really at their worst for Brad Lidge, Charlie Manuel just stayed with him and said, he's my guy.
On a ground, great play. Polanco to his feet, throw in time. And the Phillies come off the deck for a Game 2 victory, going up 2 games to none in this best-of-5 series. Lidge the save. 7 unanswered for the Philadelphia Phillies. And we are headed to Cincinnati Sunday. Our final score, 7-4 Philadelphia. Coming up next, Dick Stockton, Bob Brindley, Tom Verducci. We'll have Game 2 of the Braves and the Giants from San Francisco. TBS, your exclusive home for the entire 2010 Division Series of the ALCS. So long.